The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
A new report from Sports Illustrated indicated the Jets are planning to make major offensive staff changes. We'll discuss that and much more. Ladies and gentlemen, Fireman Ed will join us. It's a Football Friday for the final time. Thank God for the Jets regular season. Let's hit it and get it started.
A new chapter for the Jets has started. Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji are tasked with shaping the future of this franchise. Will they be the ones to finally get it right? We will be here for every step of the journey on the Jake Asman Show, breaking down all the storylines, every game, and everything in between. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chats, baby. Cut the line. The Jake Asman Show starts right now.
Here we go, Jet fans. Again, Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for being part of the show. Almost another Jet season is in the books, and we certainly have a lot to discuss with our guest, Fireman Ed. A reminder to like the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you want bonus content, if you want to become an official Asmaniac, if you want access to our private Discord, find out about exclusive events this offseason and 20% off every item in the merch store year-round, make sure you go to patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. We'll give people till the end of the weekend, and then we will update the names that always read in the intro for this show. Let's say hello to our guy, Jet superfan, Fireman Ed, who was in the building last Sunday. And Ed, I mean, where does that rank among the most depressing environments for a Jets game you've ever experienced?
Well, that was, as far as the opposing fans, that was the most I ever seen. I mean, there was 90%, I would say, Patriot fans. Whatever the count was, if it was 40,000 there or 50,000 there was 90% Patriot fans there. So it was a big party going on. They had they scored the first 5 times they had the ball, touchdowns. And, it was brutal. It was just, we did the Jet chant to start the game. That was ball game. That was it. But that's the state of the fan base that, they're speaking. The fan base is happy. They're done. The fan base is, I have not seen our fan base this down. I mean, it's been a long time since I seen it this down. I mean, we've been down a lot of different years. Come on. But this one is because of last year. What happened last year has carried over to this year. All right. And the only thing that I will say is I give Aaron Glenn the benefit of the doubt because he's a Jet. All right. But I have not seen anything that would encourage me to say, oh man, I can't wait for next year. I can't sit here. I told you that I would wait until we seen the brunt of, everything, most of the season. And now we're in our last game. And I mean, it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. And it starts at the top. It starts with Woody Johnson. That's where it all starts. And, I feel he should sell the team. If not, he's not going to do that. He should give the reins to his brother, Chris. I don't want to hear Chris was, he got hired Adam Gase. He was railroaded by Peyton Manning. Okay, he listened to Peyton Manning, and so you're going to hold that against it. The guy speaks well. Chris Johnson speaks very well. I mean, what really did me in this year? What did me in was when the NFL meetings, the owners' meetings, came about, and Woody. Never mind what he spoke. That was a disaster what he spoke to begin with. But when he wore a Crystal Palace hat and the blue tie. To an NFL, he represent the Jets. He should go. He bought Crystal Palace because his interests are everywhere. They're all over the place. We love the Jets. We just want the Jets to win. That's all we want. And when you have interest in other places, God bless you. Go ahead. But go to Crystal Palace and run Crystal Palace. And let your brother, Chris, run the organization because I believe he'll do a good job. But reality, we need an owner that loves this team, and that's it. This is the love, and this is all you want to do is win a world championship or compete for one year after year, year after year. Not interests over here, interests over there. No, and this is what the fan base is really frustrated about more than anything else. And, last year he fired Salah 5 games in. No plan. No plan. After he fired him, there was no plan. Okay, because Ulbrich was over his head. Okay, then he fires. We come to find out that Joe Douglas never really had any say in it from before the season. So that was the report from The Athletic. If we go in The Athletic and we think of remember The Athletic, go back and read that article and see all the different things that were referred. Okay, I didn't hear any denials. Did you? Am I mistaken, Jake? Did I hear any denials?
No, it was clear he had lost faith in Salah and Douglas going into that last offseason, and he acted the way he did, and the proof's in the pudding. He fired Robert Salah after 5 games, which is my whole point with where we're at right now. When you look at this Jets team, Ed, there's no evidence Aaron Glenn has any idea what he's doing. The only argument people make at this point to try and keep this head coach is either saying it's only been 1 year or who would come here, which, again, is an admission he's not the guy. No one can actually make a football case why he should stay. Where the Jets rank historically in ineptitude is alarming. The worst December of all time. The worst SRS of any coach that was one and done since 2018. That simple rating system, which gets adjusted for the strength of schedule. We understand this team lacks talent in some key areas. We understand they made the trades at the deadline, but they started 0-7, and he looked absolutely inept. And everything he said, everything this coach said and promised and preached and took shots at the previous administration, it's been the opposite. And then to listen to him up there this past week, say that he showed the team highlights from the Jags game where they showed their brand in a game they were down 31-10 at halftime. And the drive he's referring to, Ed, is the drive when at the time they're down 40-13. It's laughable. And then he already walked back. The effort comment, I think he lost the room. I think Sunday's going to get even uglier because why would they play for him at this point? And then the other thing he said, he's highlighting, we cleaned up the penalties. They went from 31st to 23rd. Really? Round of applause for that. Then he's going to talk about they haven't had a single field goal that's been blocked this year. When that's number 4 on your short list of positives from a 3-13, soon to be 3-14 season, what are we doing? Because if they bring him back, they're going to win 4 or 5 games in 2026, and they'll have a coach search in 2027. For once, be proactive, not reactive. But he's probably going to come back because, again, it all starts with the owner, as your point was at the start of the show.
Well, they railroaded Aaron Rodgers out of here, okay? His first thing when they hired Aaron Glenn with the 33rd team, by the way, who, when you look back on that, oh, man, you got to question a lot of that. I mean, they never interviewed Mike McCarthy. They never interviewed John Gruden. I want to stay on track. When Mike Vrabel came into that facility, okay, anyone, and this is not Monday morning quarterback, anyone could see the Mack truck coming down the road, ready to run you over because all he did was come into Florham Park to be able to get that job up in New England, in Foxborough, okay? That was so evident. And for the 33rd team to let him come in and interview really pissed me off because when it was happening, I was saying he has no intentions of coming here. None. He had none. Soon as the New England Patriot job became available, okay, when the Patriot job wasn't available, yes, he would have been on a list to come in and be a part, try to get him. He was the best candidate. I understand that. But when that job became available, anybody could have seen that. Then what they do is they turn around when they hire Aaron Glenn. They bring Rodgers. They fly him in just to tell him, we don't need you. Now that was an edict from Woody Johnson. You know it was. Okay. So now what does Aaron Glenn do? I mean, Aaron Rodgers do. He goes to Pittsburgh, which you seen that was coming. And they draft Will Howard, and now he's grooming him. Okay. What plan did we have? What plan did we have for the quarterback position? We took a shot at Justin Fields. Okay. That didn't work out. All right. That was a gamble. We all wanted it. Listen, we want anything. We're at the point where we will take anything to hope that we can turn this franchise around. But this is why you hire these guys to be the brilliant guys to come in and make it happen. Well, it's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. Now, I will not include Muji in that. I'm just telling you. I like moves that he's made, and I'm good with that. But Aaron Glenn has lost that locker room. And do I believe he's going to get fired? No, I don't believe he's going to get fired. Does he have to bring in offense? When you just said Sports Illustrated just said they're going to rehaul the offensive side of the ball. Well, they better. If you're going to draft a kid, you better give some money. Give money to Kurt Warner. Give money to Cliff Klingsberg. Give it to anybody that knows how to draft a quarterback and make him be a player that we're proud of and could lead this organization. Because right now, we are in a bad way. I mean a bad way. This is the worst I've seen it. Honestly. All right? And it's built up from when Woody Johnson firing Saleh, Douglas, and not having a game plan. And then he hires the 33rd team, and they interview a ton of candidates. But did you really like any of the candidates other than Vrabel? Did you like any of the candidates? And the only reason Vrabel was going to New England because as it was happening, they knew that they had to fire Mayo. They didn't want him coming here. So, I mean, it's unbelievable. Like the Mack truck was there, Jake, coming down the highway. It was running you over. You couldn't see it? You couldn't see it? Never mind, we'll get into Vrabel 18 seconds into left in the half, and he calls a timeout and said, fuck the Jets. Let me tell you something. We need to you want to represent this team. You got to have people that are hungry and want to beat the shit out of the Patriots. Okay? That's what you need. We need a guy like Rex Ryan and Bart Scott that will come in here and say, oh, yeah? Watch this. Okay? Like they did when we went up to New England, when we were underdog 14 points and went beat their ass after losing 45-3 in December. Okay? That's what you want. That's the team you want in here.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Ed. I love Rex. It's not even about that. It's the fact that this head coach, while he preaches things that obviously matter, right? Being disciplined, smart, tough, violence, that is not what wins alone in the NFL anymore. It is all about scoring points, having offensive innovation, if you're not an offensive guy, you have to be a brilliant defensive guy. For all of Salah's warts, he was an excellent defensive coach. D'Amico Ryans is an example of this. Look what he's doing in Houston. Mike McDonald with the Seahawks. He's a defensive coach. Look what he's doing. The CEO head coaches, those are a dying breed, right? There's talk of Harbaugh and Tomlin finally being let go with their respective teams. You don't really see it anymore. And that's the big problem. Like the idea of hiring Aaron Glenn and then giving him all this power, it never made sense because he's never done the job before. And when you don't even interview Mike McCarthy, I mean, again, why is Mike Locksley, the head coach of Maryland, getting an interview here? Like, it's just silly, man. It really is. But forget just the search and all that. Focusing on going forward, the issue I have with this Albert Breer report in Sports Illustrated the other day, and the big headline was, from his knowledge, no discussions about one-and-doneing Aaron Glenn have occurred at the high reaches of the organization. But the bottom paragraph here, they're talking about how there's going to be some changes to the offensive staff. Again, he's already fired Steve Wilkes as his DC, so you have a brand new defensive staff coming in. As it stands now, Tanner Engstrand's going to be back, but that doesn't sound concrete. So wait a second. They're going to make all these changes to both sides of the ball. Why is the head coach still here? again, no one can answer the question, what does this head coach do well? The only argument for keeping Aaron Glenn is, Woody's too cheap to move on, which I think is nonsense, given the fact he just spent $254 million to buy a part of a soccer team. The other argument people make is, who would come here? That's nonsense, because, again, people act like if you one and done a coach, it really sets you back. The evidence is overwhelming that it is not true. Here are the most recent one and done head coaches on your screen. This is courtesy of Michael Nania of Jets X Factor. Look at the list here. All these guys, besides Antonio Pierce, and I was in Houston with David Culley, and Glenn is just as bad. Trust me, I lived it. Culley actually won 4 games. Glenn's going to finish with 3 for what it's worth. But look at the list here. All the guys that were one and done and then replaced, besides Antonio Pierce and besides David Culley, which got them Lovie Smith, then they fired him and got them D'Amico, they're all making the playoffs. If the Panthers win, they're in the playoffs. So Dave Canales will join this list. So there's a perception, you can't one and done a coach. No, man, if you're having the discussion about one and doneing a coach, they don't turn it around. Aaron Glenn would be a historic of all historic outliers if he turned this around based on all the advanced numbers, based on just the sheer record. You ready for this stat? From 2001 to 2024, 27 first-time NFL head coaches won 4 or fewer games in their first season. Only 6 of the 27 head coaches had at least one winning record season with their first franchise before being fired, and only 2 had multiple winning seasons. Here are the 4 head coaches with 1 winning season after, again, they won 4 or fewer games in year 1. Todd Haley, Jim Schwartz, Raheem Morris, Leslie Frazier. Jay Gruden lasted 5 seasons and 5 games with Washington, and he had 2 winning seasons, 9-7, 8-7-1. The only outlier is Zach Taylor with the Bengals, who's been there for 7 seasons. He's had 4 winning seasons, and let's be real, he has one of the best quarterbacks in the league over the last 25 years when healthy, and Joe Burrow. So again, if Aaron Glenn turns things around, he would be the ultimate outlier. We are wasting our time. He will be fired at the end of next year if they move forward with him. I hope like hell I'm wrong, and I will root for him to prove me wrong. I am a Jet fan who loves this team and wants nothing more to be wrong. But I've seen this with David Culley in Houston. We've seen this around the league. We saw this last year with Gerard Mayo and Robert Kraft. We are wasting our time. We are.
Are we gonna go to next year and then it's gonna be 16 years without playoffs?
Yeah.
I mean, and we're gonna raise the ticket prices.
Oh yeah.
Again.
Sure.
Okay.
Why not?
Like we've been doing. All right. Running this fan base out of the building because they're disgusted with the fact that not only have we not won in 15 years, we haven't had a home playoff game in 23 years, a home playoff game in 23 years. Okay. And you're raising ticket prices and you want this fan base to support this team. And I believe this fan base loves the New York Football Jets, the green and white. They don't love the leadership. They do not love the leadership. They're disgusted. I talk to them consistently. I talk to more Jet fans than anybody. And I'm telling you that they're disgusted. And it shows when you have 90% New England fans at the last home game. That's a disgrace. That's directly on the owner. It's directly on the owner. That's it. It is. Let's call it like it is. He's making the decisions. He hired the 33rd team. Okay? And where are we now? What are we doing? Tell me one thing. Who believes that we're in good hands and we're going to the playoffs next year? Anybody?
No one.
All right?
No one.
So
They won't. They won't. They play in a division now with the Bills and Josh Allen and Drake May and now Mike Vrabel. They can't even beat a Dolphins team that is the very definition of mediocre. They've been blown out twice by them. The last one, they're playing hard for Glenn. They won 3 of 5. They're down 21-0 in the first quarter of that game.
That was it for me. That was when I lost it. When I was there at that game and we were down 21-0. I think there was 8 or 9 minutes. I think it was like 8 minutes left in the first quarter. 7 minutes left in the first quarter. We were down 21-0. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is happening? This is the Miami Dolphins, who we can't stand. All right? That was our biggest rivalry for years. If you go all the teams, that's the biggest rivalry. And you got your ass whipped. Now, we had just won 3 out of 5 going into that game. And I'm all excited going, we're going to take the Dolphins today. We didn't show up. We didn't show up. It was unbelievable. So, you have to look at all of this. There got to be accountability at the top. There has to be. At this point, how could you not say it? You got Connor Rogers saying that the agents are telling they don't want these guys to come here.
Let's play that. I want to play that again because I did a show yesterday on New Year's Day, and I'm sure people were busy, so maybe not everyone saw it. Connor Rogers, who, like any Jet fan, has immense respect for it, does a Jet podcast called Badlands. He's on SNY with Bart, Willie, and Steve Gelbs.
Yep. Great.
He works for NBC as their draft guy, so he has connections all around the draft universe. This was Connor on Badlands talking about what Ed just alluded to.
I think where my real concerns lie right now is because obviously I have conversations more in the draft circle all the time, is that unprompted, I kid you not, unprompted, I've had agents already say to me this year, and I'm not talking about agents with 7th round players, okay? Let me make that very clear. Agents say to me, they want nothing to do with their prospects going to the Jets. And that's tough when you hear that. And let's be real, more often than not in the draft, that's the reason the NFL draft exists, those are largely out of your control, but it doesn't make you feel good when they feel that way, right? Yeah. Like you're looking at it and they're like, man, like that's the last place I want my guy to go to. So it goes back to exactly what you just said, that Glenn has a lot of work to do to sell this as a viable place to play.
Let me ask you this, Ed. What's the selling point of a top defensive coordinator taking the Jet job when the perception is as low as it's ever been? The coach is perceived to be on the hot seat. Like, why? Why would a top DC want to come here? Oh, they have all the cap space. Great. Well, you're going to have to just grossly overpay. Look what McCagney did. That will get you Tremaine Johnson. That will get you Le'Veon Bell. That doesn't work. So, again, we could pretend like, oh, they have all these resources, right? That's why the time to make a major move would be right now. So you set yourself up with the best possible chance to have success at the quarterback spot and the rest of the roster. Again, people can't answer the question, what does Aaron Glenn do well as a coach? The only things that he pointed to were 2 things related to special teams, penalty improvement, which is laughable considering the fact they were 31st a year ago, and now they're at 23. Great, they're running the ball. A lot of it's been in garbage time, too. Has the running game been that impactful? Like, it really has not been. They're getting blown out every week. Who cares about the running game? And if you want to give him credit for special teams, great. He deserves it. But the reality is, if the only thing you could point to is special teams and Chris Banjo could be retained. Gerard Mayo was fired. Guess what Mike Vrabel did? He retained the Patriots special teams coordinator because they had a good special teams unit last year. And Robert Kraft still fired Gerard Mayo. Brant Boyer was the Jets special teams coordinator for Todd Bowles, Adam Gase, and Robert Saleh. Mike Westhoff was the Jets special teams coordinator for Herm Edwards, Eric Mangini, and Rex Ryan. So, again, when the list of positives is that tells you all you need to know. And anyone who thinks this gets better magically next year, trust your eyes, people. Again, trust your eyes. Look at what we've seen this year and look at the history of one-and-done coaches. For those saying, oh, you can't move on, it's not going to get better. In most of these examples, it did. Antonio Pierce to Pete Carroll didn't, but now they're going to have the number 1 pick and probably get Fernando Mendoza, and that job will be attractive for them to get a legitimate coach. So we could pretend like this is going to get better. And Glenn, good guy. I'm sure he's a really good assistant coach. He's not a head coach, and we don't need to act like this magically gets better next year because this is so silly.
Listen, I'm tired of the NFL laughing at the Jets. All right?
He was supposed to change that. Oh, we're the New York Jets. We're built for this.
Honestly, they're laughing at the Jet organization. All right? They're laughing at it. When the owner speaks, it's a disaster. All right? When he brings another team in, the 33rd team to come in here, it's a disaster. It's been a disaster. All right? Woody Johnson's owned his team for 25 years. For the last 15 years, it's been a disaster. An absolute disaster. The fan base is dying, struggling to try to have anything to grasp for the future, hoping, faith. You know how much it's they're not showing up. Nobody's showing up. All right, to the stadium. Nobody's going. All right? It starts at the top. Listen, I'm just telling you, this league is an offensive league. That the rules are meant for the offense. You have to have an offensive-minded coach in here to go with the times, okay? And if you bring a defensive guy in here, fine, but he needs to have a brilliant offensive coordinator and a base there that can teach a kid when you're going to draft a young quarterback, because that's what it sounds like we're going to be doing, right, Jake? We're going to be drafting a quarterback. We don't know which one, but we're going to draft one. You got to surround him with everybody in that quarterback room so he has a chance to prosper, okay? We've been through this. How many times? We've been through this, okay? And now's the time. Once again, you're going to have a ton of draft choices. You have a bunch of money, cap space, and where is the leadership? Where is the leadership? And that's where it all starts. It's all bullshit. Until it starts at the top, we're only kidding ourselves. And all we're doing is paying for tickets and paying to go, and this is what we have. I mean, let's call it like it is. Call it like it is. It's 15 years. We're going on 16 now. All right? Haven't had a home playoff game in 23 years. Okay? One time with this owner, we've had a playoff game. One time at home since he's owned the team. Okay? So, I'm done. I had enough. I had enough. All right? Nobody loves this team more than I do. Okay? It may be equal, but nobody loves him as much as I do. And I'm disgusted with the whole thing. It's unbelievable. We had a Hall of Fame quarterback here that got a bad break with an Achilles tear. They could have held on to him and drafted a quarterback and groomed the quarterback as we speak this year. And instead, we let him go. And look what we have. Look at the disaster we have. And where is the future? What hope do we have? The only hope you have is that Muji is a young guy, GM, that looks like he has a good take on personnel. That's my opinion. All right? I am not going to knock Muji. I'm just not doing it. Now, Aaron Glenn, I haven't killed him because he's a Jet, and I loved him as a player. But
that's the problem, man. Take feelings out of it.
As a head coach.
Take feelings out of it. Again, we all respect Aaron Glenn as a person, and he was a phenomenal Jet. But there's no reason to act like he's done a good job, or there's any evidence he will do a good job.
He hasn't.
I don't enjoy doing this. Like, none of us enjoy having to quote unquote criticize or bash the head coach of the Jets. We all want it to work out. We all gave it a chance at the beginning of the year. He wasn't my preference because of any first timer. But again, like he talked that big game. He was peacocking, as Dylan Terriman said on my show yesterday. Oh, we're here to win now and going forward. It's coaching, man. It's coaching. We're going to be a team about player development. We're going to be a team that gets better throughout the year. This is going to be a team that fans are proud of this year. And then walks it back, said, I never said when. Again, you could tell me about, they made the trades with Sauce and Quinn. Again, look what we're seeing on the field. They just set a record for the worst month of December in league history. I think as fans, we could have the bar being a little higher than not being the worst team ever in December. I think as fans, we could expect one interception through 16 games. They don't have a single one. So again, it's not that, we all don't like Aaron Glenn as a human being or don't respect his tenure as the Jet coach. It's about the future. You got 5 first-round picks now over the next 2 years, all this cap space. Does anyone actually believe this coach who picked Justin Fields and said what he said about him, this coach who hired Steve Wilkes and already fired him, this coach who hired Tanner Engstrand, who Dan Campbell didn't retain, Ben Johnson didn't take with him? I'm questioning everything right now. Why would we now let this regime, this coaching staff, take Dante Moore, who needs development, take Fernando Mendoza if they get lucky and it breaks their way, take Ty Simpson, take the Ole Miss quarterback, Trinidad, now after what he did last night? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, again, if you're the Jets, you have a chance to actually do a proactive move to put yourself in position to have a shot with a real quarterback coming in, like what the Raiders are about to do, getting rid of Pete Carroll. Why would the Jets sit here and just run this back? It's so insane to me.
And he hasn't made friends in the media. The media, he was very disrespectful to the media through this year. Okay, he's eased up a little bit, but that's a killer on his resume also. Okay, because these guys, they put that in the back of their head. They can't wait to jump on him. Okay, the only reason they're really not going after him hard, it's his first year.
And the other reason too, they think he's probably coming back still. So they don't want to write columns. Aaron Glenn should be fired. He's got to go when they got to work with him for an entire offseason and a whole nother year. But once they start 1-5, 1-6, then all gloves are off. It's like the Gase thing all over again. The beat was nice with Gase because Gase would call them after games. You talk with them off the record. Glenn hasn't played that game with them at all. So, and now he's starting to try and be a lot nicer, but it's too late. You already showed who you are. You came in and thought that this was going to be way easier than it actually was. You thought that, Casala's team blew the lead 7 times in the fourth quarter. It's coaching, man. Let me puff my chest about that. We're now going to win. He had the audacity to say when they were 0-3 and blew that game in Tampa, we're not the same old Jets. You're right, Aaron. You're worse. He had the audacity to go back and say this offseason that we're going to win, right? I put the quote up earlier that get used to winning. That's all I've been a part of the last few years. Winning is all I know. And then walked it back and said, big ships take a while to turn. And it's just like, again, like you want to root for him because he's a Jet. How do you think Bills fans, Patriots fans, Dolphins fans, Giants fans, how do you think they look at the Jets right now? Do they actually think Aaron Glenn's a good coach? If Glenn didn't play for the Jets, no one in this fan base would have any optimism it could turn around. It doesn't turn around. It doesn't.
They're laughing at us. They just are. I mean, it's the way it is.
Yeah.
And
why wouldn't they? I would be too. If I was a Pats fan, I'd laugh at the Jets. If I was a Dolphins fan, I'd be laughing.
You come into this organization, you want to change the culture in that. You got to punch somebody in the face. All right? You gotta dominate the line of scrimmage. All right? That's not the case. He's a defensive coordinator. All right? That defense has been pathetic from the start of the season. It's been pathetic. The defense has been disgraceful. Now, I don't know if there's so many of those guys with solid guys that they just can't handle Glenn's philosophy, whatever it might be.
What's the philosophy?
Steve Wilkes.
What's the philosophy?
It's a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. Those guys underperformed. Some of our best players from last year have underperformed. Quincy Williams, they had to bench him. And then he played well for a little bit, and then he went back to being not Quincy anymore. Okay, Quincy's ready to go to Dallas. All right? Jermaine Sherwood has not played well. Okay? He got paid. He didn't play well. All right? There's so many. Jermaine Johnson he's still coming back from his Achilles. I believe he'll be a great player. Will McDonald has regressed. Okay? It is coaching. It is coaching. It's X's and O's. X's and O's. All right? And, it's very frustrating for this fan base to watch right at the top and then get, we're gonna raise your ticket prices. I mean, what are we doing? Your fan base. That's all you have. That's your nuts and bolts of the team. How do you want support? You got a shit stadium that's a friggin' air conditioner, and there's no home field advantage there. And you kill them. Forget about what we're talking about on the screen or in the game time. No defensive chance. I mean, they're a disaster. They're clueless on what the hell needs to be done as a home. You go to Pittsburgh and look. You go to Baltimore. Go to these teams and see how their fan base is and the home field for them. Okay? Listen, big difference. Big difference. We're busy playing music and the guy's dancing in the aisle. T-shirt contest, shooting shirts out. I mean, what are we doing? What happened to home field advantage? What the hell happened? It's a 3-ring circus, is what it is there. It's entertainment. It's what we got to do. Every minute of every second, we have to entertain the crowd. The music doesn't stop. God forbid we should think about football and what that's all about. All right? When you see the Pittsburgh Steelers and Renegade comes on in the beginning of the end of the third quarter. They're waiting for that. What the hell do we have? We had the Jet chant, and they're killing that. They're destroying that. We have two things in this organization. The 69 Super Bowl, okay, and Jet chant, the greatest chant in all of sports. And we're killing that. It's unbelievable. What a joke. It's a joke. We need somebody here that loves this team, the green and white. They love the green and white, the New York Football Jets, like a guy like Gary V, who's a season ticket holder. He should own this team. That's who should own this team. You'd be at the top. Are you kidding me? Robert Kraft couldn't wait to get Vrabel in the building. He knew he screwed up. He got rid of Mayo. Now look at what they're doing. And we got to deal with them. All right? So we have to make our own way. This can't continue. This cannot continue. I don't want to hear it. It can't happen. I don't give a shit. I'll always be at the games. It don't matter. I don't give a shit if I do the chant or not. The chant will go on forever. Okay? But I want to win a world championship for all this fan base. All right? They deserve it. We're the greatest fans in all of in NFL. We just are. They compare us to the Cleveland Browns, the Detroit Lions. You know what I told the Cleveland Brown dog pound? They were in. And I was hanging out with these guys, a lot of firemen. I said, you know what? They compare us, we're the worst teams in the NFL. But you know what the difference is? You guys have your own stadium. We don't have our own stadium. The Detroit Lions have their own stadium. All the worst teams have their own stadium. We don't. We've watched the Giants go to 5 Super Bowls while we're in their stadium. I mean, are we kidding? You want to talk about a fan base that's been ridiculed, stepped on, little brother. I mean, are you kidding me? What the hell are we doing? We need a leadership that's just, no more it is. That's done. It's over. Not a guy like Vrabel going, fuck the Jets. Yeah? Oh, yeah? Okay. We'll see about that. Okay? We need leadership.
Ed, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, brother. Go Jets.
Don't let go of that rope, Fireman Ed. Don't let go of that rope.
Yeah.
Just don't let go of the rope.
Man, I love his passion, man. I really do. I really do. This fan base deserves better. And if Woody retains this coach, then we'll do the coach search in 2027. Can't wait. It's just enough. Enough. Listen to what a Lions podcaster, diehard Lions fan, told us about Glenn earlier this year. All right. This happened on the show maybe around November-ish, somewhere in that range. Listen to this for those who haven't seen this yet.
Hey, how's it going, guys? The Lions fan here. Wanted to
You want Aaron Glenn back?
No, absolutely do not want Aaron Glenn back. I definitely feel your pain. Aaron Glenn is definitely not the head coach material for your team. And I am sorry that you guys got bit on this lie. Aaron Glenn in Detroit was extremely arrogant, would never change his ways. But his in-game play calling is atrocious. Not scoring before the halftime twice? That's crazy. This is how he is, Jets fans. He has a way and he doesn't change. I could tell you for 3 years, the mobile quarterback would rip our defense up, do something, make a change, bench players. He wouldn't do it. Years of this. Guys, I think you got Matt Patricia 2.0. When we restarted compared to what you guys is completely different. We basically got a new owner. We got a new general manager. Chris Spielman came in and helped out. We brought in a bunch of Lions former greats. My boss, Herman Moore, he was brought in. You have Barry Sanders in there. Dan Campbell, the blue collar, grit, former player, humble guy. He's never thinking he's better than anybody else. And then you got Brad Holmes, who was all about, finding talent. You put them together. When we had the organization, we had no talent in this team, and we knew we were going to suck. We had nobody, but we had to build it the correct way through the draft. This team has sucked for so long. What we have been doing for many years does not work. We watched the games. We knew that the players were competitive. We knew that our coaches were doing the best that they could do, but we just didn't have the talent. That is the difference between the Lions and the Jets. You guys have far more talent. The quarterback position is one thing that is hurting your team, but the arrogance of Aaron Glenn, inability to remove Justin Fields or bring in another quarterback is what is destroying your franchise right now. I really hope they terminate Aaron Glenn for you and your fans. As a Lions fan, I know what misery is like. I know what watching terrible football is like. And I know when you have somebody that runs a franchise that can really hurt it for many, many years. I really hope they let him go. I think you guys made the wrong hire. I think the media completely lied to you. Everybody said he was this great genius, but as a Lions fan who watched defense every single game and called plays, I was losing my mind. It is not what they told you. Yes, we had injuries. Can't discount all the other years that he was with us. Our defense was trash the whole time. It was 31, 32, 30. And then now we get Shep come in, and it's doing great. You guys do got talent. You're going to have a high draft pick, but they got to cut the cancer out.
We appreciate it, Mike. I'm definitely rooting for the Lions and their fans, another tortured franchise. And I looked it up, by the way, because I know Glenn, I'm sure, will reference the Lions a lot this offseason, even though he said earlier he's done talking about the Lions. So the Lions, after they got up to their terrible start, they actually ended the year 3-4-1. Right? They got up to like the winless start. What were they, 08 or 09-1, whatever the math is. And they actually finished the year strong. But then you look at the Lions, right? Their offense in 2021, this is from Pro Football Reference. They were 25th in points, 22nd in yards, 18th in passing yards, 19th in rushing yards. And Dan Campbell still fired his offensive coordinator. The Jets are going to be 32nd. 32nd in offense this year. We know it's the worst passing offense in the league. Almost by default, the rushing offense is much improved. But so much of the production, we've just seen it's in garbage time. You know, the Lions defense with Glenn that first year was 31st in points allowed, 29th in yards. Their DVOA was 28th. The offensive DVOA, by the way, was 22nd. It's just like, this is not the Lions. This is even worse. Not everyone's Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's a huge outlier. Huge. Again, I want to show this graphic again because I think Michael Nania does a really good job with the research. These are all the coaches that have been one and done since 2018. Look what happened after they left. Their replacement got them to the playoffs in every example here besides so far Antonio Pierce and David Culley. Now, David Culley led to Lovie Smith, who then was one and done, and that led to D'Amico Ryans. Again, if you know, you know. We can pretend like this improves, but it doesn't. I'm sorry. Let's do something positive. I really appreciate the audience still tuning in. Also, only one live show today. I'm hosting from 3 to 7 on ESPN New York. You can check me out with Ty Butler. We're filling in for Don Hahn and Rosenberg. So we're on YouTube again today. The station's YouTube channel's back. So you can watch the show there, or you can listen on the ESPN New York app if you're at a market or in your car on 880 AM. I have in my hand right now a signed jersey by Jets legend Freeman McNeil. That is the raffle prize today. If you want a chance to win that, make sure you gift a membership or send in a super chat that qualifies. We will do plus. We will double every membership today, as we've been doing since we're only doing one show. And our raffle on Tuesday features signed Klecko jersey, signed Revis jersey, and a signed Don Maynard football. Those are the prizes that we have up for grabs in the weekly. And then end of the show today, we got ourselves a signed Freeman McNeil jersey, a little 80s Jets prize for those tuned in live to the show. I'm going to get to the super chats coming up. One other thing I wanted to play, though. Sean Salisbury, former ESPN NFL analyst, obviously played quarterback in the NFL. He has a podcast now, and they played the clip of Aaron Glenn talking about what his brand is. For those who haven't seen that clip, here's the full thing.
To talk about your brand and stuff like that, how often have you seen it, and how do you, I don't know, how do you get it to be seen more consistently?
Yeah, well, there was we were playing Jacksonville, and I showed the team this. And if you guys go and watch the way that we ran the ball against Jacksonville, I thought it was very, very impressive on us controlling the line of scrimmage, us running the ball, being physical, being violent. It was actually after the third quarter. It was 12 seconds. We ran the ball. Our guys got into a shoving match. The quarter ends. Then we go down. We have a hell of a run on a physical play, and then we scored a touchdown. And then we had other runs after that, and we had the passes that Brady was actually starting to get into a rhythm against Jacksonville. That was the brand of football that I want our guys to see, and I showed the whole team that.
I'm sure the whole team loved seeing the drive in the third quarter when they're in garbage time down 40-13. Again, they were down 40-13 in that example he just spoke about last week. 40-13. That's garbage time. 40-13. Dylan made a great point yesterday on the show. If you wanted to talk about his brand, bring up the drive against New England on Thursday Night Football when they actually scored an opening drive touchdown. It's probably the best drive of the year. Opening drive touchdown. It's the only one they've had, I think, all season. They should have had it in Miami with Braylon Allen, but he fumbled. So that's the shining example Glenn pointed to, on top of the fact we accentuated the positives of the field goal team not having a kick blocked and the special teams unit, which, yes, he gets credit for Banjo, but Banjo could be retained. Jeremy Springer was not fired when Mike Vrabel took over the Patriots. He retained him. Mike Westhoff and Brant Boyer each were special teams coordinators for 3 different Jet coaches. The penalty improvement, we don't need to pretend this is some staunch improvement. We don't. Here's the tweet from Rich Cimini. Penalties, 23rd this year. They were 31st last year. Like, again, congrats, I suppose. And here's the thing with penalties, right? Jacksonville, number 1 in penalties. Denver, number 4 in penalties. Bears, number 6 in penalties. It obviously matters. It's important. But that's not what truly wins in the NFL. Like, those 3 teams I mentioned are 3 of the best teams in the league, 3 of the best coaches in the league, at least this year, right? In Cohen, Sean Payton, and Ben Johnson. Those are the teams that have committed a ton of penalties this year. So, all right, if that's the improvement, great. Really moving the needle. But I wanted to play this. This is from Sean Salisbury. I mentioned his credentials just before. Here's Sean reacting to that clip I just played of Glenn highlighting that drive in Jacksonville.
It pains me because I like Aaron Glenn as a human. I think he was a hell of a player, and he's done some good things as an assistant coach. But the more you talk and the explanation he gave is all you need to know about, he can't keep being a head coach. An assistant, he's just, well, Sean, their team sucks. But have we thought that maybe their team sucks more now than they did in the past because the coaching staff doesn't have a direction or what they're doing? I do. I like Aaron, but we got to call it like we see it. He's in over his head as a head coach right now. He just is. Coaches have been fired for far less results-wise than this. When you look at these numbers, this is unprecedented shit. A college team that plays against a pro team, hear what I'm telling you. They're not going to beat a pro team. I'm just telling you right now, Ohio State's numbers are better than this against the NFL in 16 games. They're going to get a pick. They're going to have a 400-yard receiver. That's what I'm saying. So, and it's not even the results that suck. How you got to those results. Listen to the press conference and the over-explaining. And here's where you got to draw the line. Jets fans, I love you, but the Jets trying to explain what their brand of football is holds no water. You ain't a brand, and you ain't got a brand of football. The brand of football you play is called suck. I can get this results from 11 cats that played in the frat league. Somebody's getting an interception. So is it bad production, bad teaching, or coaching? The bottom line is, if the Jets have any smarts at all, and Aaron's a solid assistant coach. We've seen it many times. Some guys just aren't made for it. I think we've proven that Aaron Glenn, a good assistant, over his head. If the Jets let this fester, he will be getting fired somewhere in midseason next year because they're not good and coaching ain't helping right now. I promise you, as I'm sitting here, USC gets an interception, and they're not. Ohio State, Indiana has better offensive stats than the Jets do if they're playing an NFL schedule every week. They're not going to win, but the stats are going to be better than the Jets on both sides of the ball.
Again, aren't you all tired of being a laughingstock? This is where we're at. Before we get to your calls and super chats, let's say hello to our sponsor today, ZipRecruiter. ladies and gentlemen, it is a new year. And as we now enter 2026, I got some big goals. We want to grow the show. We want to expand the Asmaniac community. We want to have big guests, great sponsors, bigger coverage. And the truth is, you can't do any of that alone. Whether you're building a media brand or running your own business, it's hard to find people who are actually great at what they do. It's like the Jets trying to fix their QB problem every offseason. Everyone says they have the answer, but finding the right fit is the hard part. That's where ZipRecruiter comes in. If you're hiring right now, you got real challenges. You're trying to fill specialized roles. You're sorting through a mountain of applications. You don't have time to waste on people who aren't qualified. ZipRecruiter makes this easy. Their matching technology works fast to find top talent, so you're not wasting time or money. You can instantly see how many job seekers in your area are qualified for your role. And with ZipRecruiter's advanced resume database, you can unlock top candidates' contact info right away. No wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site based on G2. Let ZipRecruiter help you find the best people for all your roles. 4 out of 5 employers who post on Zip get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to the exclusive web address right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Again, ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Freeman McNeil signed jersey is the raffle prize today. Make sure you enter the raffle by gifting a membership. Every membership is boosted double. So 1 is 2, 5 is 10, so on and so forth. Black Gypsy first to enter this morning. He is in the raffle for 2 by gifting 1. Hit it, Black Gypsy. Phantom Green and White in for 2. Joe with a super chat. Jake and Ed, season ticket holder for 25 years. Rock bottom. Why is John Gruden's name not being mentioned here to replace Glenn? Well, he's suing the league still. That's part of it, right? Same with Brian Flores. Now, Flores got coaching interviews. He interviewed for the Jet job. He was my preference a year ago because they didn't interview Mike McCarthy or Cliff Kingsbury. They didn't request Liam Cohen or any of the offensive guys. I think they spoke to Joe Brady at the end, but I wanted someone with experience. So McCarthy was #1. They didn't talk to him. Flores is suing the league. Again, I'd have no problem interviewing John Gruden, but I'm not convinced they're firing Glenn. I'm really not. Kyle Clifton says, I'd like to buy a few rounds for the fire Aaron Glenn at next meetup. It's an attempt at an apology. You were present. And yes, that word is an obvious attempt to trip up Jake. Well, there you go. I talk about football. I don't know big words. Lou B says, Fireman Ed, it was just me and him and like 100 fans on Sunday at the game at 2. It was so depressing. P.S. If we get shut out from Mendoza and more, I am on the love train. Brees don't want to be here. I'm not taking a running back in the top 10, Lou. Can't do it. The Jets have too many other needs at premium positions to do that if they bypass quarterback. I'm sure we'll have a full week of Trinidad Chambliss hype, and we'll see how he looks in the next game. That was a lot of fun to watch last night. Ty Simpson did not really play well. I thought Moore was okay, and obviously Mendoza is Mendoza. I mean, people keep trying to move the goalposts and come up with things he doesn't do well. I mean, really? He does a lot well to me. I'd take him in 2 seconds. Christopher Salazar in the raffle for 2. So is our guy Ryan McCarthy, who's Mike McCarthy's brother. I made that last part up. Wish B says, love the passion of Fireman Ed. I agree with him. The ownership has to change. Belief starts at the top. How about we adopt the Green Bay model of ownership? Yeah, I mean, again, it's easy to say sell the team to Woody Johnson. Why would he? He's done nothing since buying the Jets in terms of winning, especially the last 15 years, right, where there's been no winning. In fact, there's 1 winning season since 2011 on. But look at the franchise value of the Jets. Why would he sell? That's the problem. You can't force an owner to sell. There needs to be like some sort of scandal like what happened with Dan Snyder or Donald Sterling with the Clippers, if you use a basketball example. Brandon says, can we say Chambliss has had a better run than Dart at Ole Miss? I love the idea of the Jets finding their QB outside of the top 10 for once. I'd have to really look into it. I know Dom C had a 3rd-round grade on Chambliss going into the college football playoff. We know QBs get overdrafted. And Dart, by the way, some thought he was a 3rd-round guy a year ago too, remember? And then he just kept climbing up boards. Sam says, clean house, Muji and Glenn screwed free agency. Scouts knew they were drafting Arian and laughed at us. Why are we not asking that to be done? I mean, I think there's plenty of people who have been saying that the coach needs to go. I could live with Muji sticking around. Rick Spielman's in that front office. At least he's been a GM twice, had success in Minnesota. Again, if you told me that they had to just clean house completely, if it meant they'd get a new head coach, then sure, I'm on board. But if they wanted to retain Darren Muji, I also could live with that if there's a real coach. I mean, how can Muji have any confidence that they have the right infrastructure for a quarterback pick he's going to have to make and will ultimately be accounted for? Like if they take a QB and that guy stinks like Zach Wilson, that is forever on his resume. He'll never get another chance to be a GM. And do they have the right infrastructure to handle that? How could anyone think they do? Terry says, Jake, do you think Woody knows all the damning indictments weighing so heavily against Glenn? Does he? I have no idea. I think he should. I mean, has he seen how his fan base is reacting right now? Did he see? He wasn't at the game Sunday, I was told. Did you see the stadium? With Patriots fans booing the Jets in pregame introduction? With Mike Vrabel saying F you on the sideline? Juice in the raffle for one, which is really two today. Thank you, Juice. Dan says Woody Johnson will hug Aaron Glenn goodbye Monday. I don't know, Dan.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
I'm not sure. Let's get to your calls. Appreciate everyone tuned in. You guys are the best, win or lose, and there's certainly been way more losing. It's an honor and a privilege to do this show with the best fans in sports locked in.
Oh, shit.
What's up, Peter Castro? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Jake. I watched all the games. I've seen enough of Glenn and his word salads. I don't even know what he's talking about half the time when he starts talking about a Jacksonville game where we ran the ball great. I don't even know what he's talking about. It's gotten to the point of being ridiculous. But to take a look at these quarterbacks, I mean, Mendoza is absolutely number one. The rest of them, Dante Moore and Simpson, I saw a lot of things in Dante Moore I didn't like. And Simpson's another Zach Wilson. The only quarterback I saw in these playoffs that I liked was Carson Beck. He looks like he could be a good pickup, because if we can't get Mendoza, I don't want to give up the ranch, move up again and get Dante Moore, because he's nothing to write home about.
It depends on the cost. Like, again, these quarterbacks all need coaching. They all need development. So I'd be worried even if they got Mendoza, who's perceived as the guy with the highest floor because he's played the most. Like, I would be concerned with anyone they picked right now. You got to tell me who the coaches are that are working with these guys. What are their track records? They have a resume, that anything that we could tangibly point to feel a little more confident in the direction they're going.
Well, now they say they're going to get another offensive coordinator. Are they going to get one, or are they going to bring some?
The specific wording here from Breer the other day in SI. Biggest question being considered internally is, what should the Jets do at QB? With that as the backdrop, I expect a lot of effort and energy to be put into the position this offseason. Part of that will be assessing if the right offensive structure is in place. That will be evaluated. Would the Jets make significant changes to the offensive staff this soon after Glenn fired defensive coordinator Steve Wilks? To me, that is the sort of question to consider, and the plan is for Glenn to be in place in 2026. To answer it, as it stands now, I think it will mean changes around Tanner Engstrand with perhaps some more quarterbacking infrastructure rather than replacing him. Again, isn't this such an indictment on Glenn? He said Justin Fields has never been coached properly. We're going to let him play quarterback. He said that he is going to have a chance to break out. They just handed him the starting job. They overpaid and gave him $30 million guaranteed to do so. And a year in, after already admitting the mistake that was Steve Wilks, now they're going to make all these changes to the offensive staff. Why does he get the opportunity to then do that? Like, even if they retain Engstrand, like you said, that Fields was going to be coached up properly. You were going to be all about developing players, including Fields. So the way this reads is they're now acknowledging, yeah, we were screwed. We didn't have the right infrastructure to develop any quarterback. It's like, how many mistakes are you going to get before you're actually held accountable? Because, again, the only argument people make is, it's only a year. Who would want the job? Or, he was a Jet 30 years ago. And it's like, come on, man. Again, The best argument for keeping him is who would come here, or it's only been a year. That's just an admission that he's not the guy. No one can actually make a tangible football case why Aaron Glenn is the right head coach to move forward with the cap space they have and the 5-1s over the next 2 years they own.
I saw what you were writing this morning on Boyd Green, and I like to also tell Philly Noodles, it's not that I'm sticking up for you, for Jake. It's not that it's what I believe. If I thought you were wrong, I would say it. But you're not wrong. You're right in everything that you're saying. This guy is not a head coach. He shouldn't be the head coach. And they need to make a change, and they need to make a change before the next season starts, because the same exact thing is going to happen. He's going to get fired 5 or 6 games into the season. This guy is terrible. And the other thing that scares me is if he does hire a decent DC or a defensive coordinator, he might be afraid to do that because that person will take his job. That's the kind of personality he has. So we're in a very bad situation with this guy. This is the worst situation I've seen us in years. And the only way to clear this up is to get rid of him now. And basically, that's it, Jake. Carson Beck, keep him on your calendar. Watch him. He's good. He's better than those other two.
Did you watch Trinidad last night? You don't have a hot take on him, Peter?
No, I got sick of watching him after a while. I was
Well, you got to watch him. He played the best of any of the quarterbacks yesterday. He was unbelievable.
What team is he on?
Trinidad Chambliss, the Ole Miss QB.
Okay. All right. I'll watch him next. But I really like Carson Beck and that defensive end. What's his name? Baines?
Yeah, Bain, the edge rusher at Miami, Reuben Bain.
He's a good player. Very good. All right, Jake, have a good new year. You're off to a good start, and I agree with you 100% on everything. This got to change. Can't stay the same.
Hang in there, Peter. At least if we could get through Sunday without a kick being blocked, we are the 2025 field goal protecting champions.
Well, if we go back a couple of games and watch the film, we could see how we won a game at some point. I don't remember, but we have to go back and look. We have to go to the tape.
Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Castro.
The field goal team. Last year we had 3 blocks. This year, we had no blocks.
It's just, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Couple super chats here. Reminder, we got a great raffle prize today. 80s Jet fans will appreciate it. I know you will. We have a signed Freeman McNeil jersey up for grabs. Jay Petito in the raffle for 4 with the boosted super chat. I like the Bain kid from Miami if we can't get Mendoza. Hate the idea of a developmental project at QB under this regime. Here's the dirty little secret, though. All these quarterbacks need development, right? Look at the number 1 picks in the draft. They need coaching to be successful. Trevor Lawrence finally has it. It took him 5 years to be the quarterback he's finally playing like. You know? So we could say, Moore needs more development. And he probably does, just based on the fact, if you just look at, he hasn't played as many games as Mendoza, but they all need development. All of them. Very rarely does someone just come in and play as well as Stroud did 2 years ago, or what's his name, Jane Daniels did last year. It's rare. Look at Bo Nix. I thought Dylan made a great point. What was it, yesterday on the show? Sean Payton or Bo Nix? Sean Payton, the head coach, you can make a case a lot of times is actually more important than the quarterback. There's very few Brady's and Peyton Mannings in the league that you show up and you win 13 games every year. Mahomes is Mahomes. He played all year. Guess what? The Chiefs couldn't still win. You need the coaching. And can't you see these rosters started to get old and deteriorate? Had all the injuries to receiver. It's so much coaching now, too. The big fella, with this being a QB star draft, if we can't get Mendoza, I'd be happy with drafting Bain and getting Chambliss. Watched him all year. He is good. Where would you take Chambliss, though? Where do Jet fans now think he's going after that performance last night? Is he a first-round guy now? You got 2 2s. You get him with one of those? M123 is in the raffle for 2. Thanks for supporting the show. Appreciate you. That's the question. Comments, questions, your super chats always cut the line around here. Let's go to a guy we haven't heard from in quite some time. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rube.
Well, there's a feller they call Charleston Jets Rube, 'cause he calls the show nude, never wears a shirt. And some folks, they don't think he's got pants on either. It's a gosh darn nudist camp. Let's hear it for that Charleston Jets Rube and see if he has any Jets points today.
Hey, what's up, Jake?
There he is. Happy New Year, Mr. Rube.
Yeah, it's I've been working a lot. I still tune in. It's just off hours. It's very rare I get a chance to call. Unfortunately, my new job, I'm always working and busy while you're on. So I don't go back work till Monday, so I thought I'd give you a call. But couple things. I don't want to trade any of our picks. I mean, I know we need a quarterback. But man, this team obviously is so much worse than what we thought at the beginning of the year. Partly due to coaching, and I'll admit it. I'm a Rube, obviously, in my name. I always hope for the best every single year. Even a lot of times when I started this last offseason thinking we'd win 6 games. I talked myself into 9, and then thinking possibility 10. I mean, how much of a joke that was. I don't know. The thing that worries me, firing Glenn, who the hell's going to want to come here? I mean,
It's one of 32, and this would be the time to get someone to want to come here. Pick your quarterback, 5 ones next 2 years, cap space to build the roster and the image you want.
I mean, I get you, and we were both kind of in the same thinking when they were looking for a coach that we wanted, that we wanted an offensive minded coach, and I still want that, but I mean, I get what you're saying, but there's only one of 32. For us to attract anybody that's halfway decent, it would have to be another first timer, I'd imagine, like an offensive coordinator somewhere, or we'd even have to go down to look at last year, the number one guy who was an offensive guy he flat out told us, don't even bother interviewing me. I mean, I don't know, man.
But does that stop you from still going out there and having a real search? Andy Reid was a quarterback coach when he was hired.
No,
you got to keep trying until you get it right. And there's precedent for this too, with all these coaching examples of how once they made the decision to one and done the coach, the guy that came in actually had success.
I'm right there with you, and I would love to right the wrong from when we hired Adam Gase. I still to this day don't understand why we didn't hire Mike McCarthy instead of
Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I get that, but we're talking about a guy that's never coached, and granted he was a great quarterback, but compared to an actual coach that won Super Bowls and had multiple great quarterbacks under his tutelage. So I mean, I just don't. I guess I don't understand the thinking, and I don't know, man. I'm just so down about this team. This is my 41st, 42nd year watching this team, and I've literally never been this. I mean, I didn't think it could get any worse in the last few years, and it did get worse, quite a bit worse. Like you say in a lot of your shows, name one person that's gotten better. Maybe Joe Tippmann. I mean, Membu was a great pick, but obviously he wasn't with the last regime, so you can't say he got better. I mean, literally, you can maybe dig up 1 or 2 names that got better under this coach. And, it's one thing to say that, the players didn't fit the scheme or whatever, but at some point, man, it's I don't know. The thing that really confuses me more than anything else is our defense is so bad. And I understand that he was letting Wilkes coach it, but at some point, I don't understand why Aaron Glenn didn't step in and just start taking things over. How does a head coach who was a really good defensive back in his day have a team that doesn't get a single interception? I mean, to me, that's probably the biggest indictment that you could say on him. I mean, I just don't know how he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't want to take over the entire defense, but how doesn't he go in there and coach these secondary guys up? I don't get it. I really, I don't know, man. I just don't want to trade any of our picks. I know we need a quarterback. I don't think this is going to happen, but the most Jet thing to happen is for us to win with like a last second, like 56-yard field goal and get like the 7th overall pick. I'm so scared of that. I mean, I know our team is horrible, and I believe Buffalo's backups probably are better than the people we're. I mean, what is half our team now? It feels like they're UDFAs that are playing, and I get it. They're tanking right. I get it, and I know that when you tank, you can't expect things to be competitive. But good God, man,
See, I disagree with that. Like,
this has been
the quote unquote tanking, but like, why are they going for it on 4th down, running a fake? You could still see things that are alarming with this trend. Like other teams have done what the Jets have done at the end of the year, playing young guys, and they didn't have the worst Decembers ever. Right. And then we can't ignore the 0-7 start. Like, that's my big thing. When they were trying to win against the Dolphins, they came out in a division game at home after they won 3 of 5. The culture wins, and they got destroyed 21-0 in the first quarter.
Yeah, that was the worst game of the year by far, because we were actually starting to get a little hope that we looked okay.
Yeah, we were giving credit to Glenn, saying, okay, maybe after a horrific start, he's starting to get it. And then you lose all the credibility when, even after the Dolphin game, you lose 48-20 to Jacksonville, and then we find out that you're showing examples of that game to the team in a team meeting. Like, it's just, this doesn't sound like a coach that has any idea how the modern NFL works. Like, it's just, he's so behind the times. I'm sorry. Like, it's just, I got nothing, man. If they bring him back, which is still probably likely, I suppose, at this point, I will root for him to prove me wrong, but we got to call a spade on the show. I just try to be honest.
But no, what I want to do with our picks, I don't want to, if we get one of the guys that they really, really like, that go to us, that let's say we get 3, let's say we stay here, go ahead and take it, a quarterback, if you really think that's going to be the guy. But, I haven't been hearing this talked about a lot, but what I would like to do is, if we don't have that quarterback there, instead of trading some of our assets and moving up, let's move down once or twice. Let's accumulate more picks. I can't remember. I suppose maybe I'd have to look at the roster and really think about it, but I can't. Maybe the first year of Saleh was a worse. Our roster's just so bad now, especially after getting rid of, and with where we're at, getting rid of Sauce and Quinnen, I think were the right moves. But we need so many players right now. And with the whole free agent jet tax thing, it's going to be tough to get the top guys here. I mean, I wouldn't be against trading down and accumulating more picks. We have so goddamn many holes. And, you had a couple of hopes for some of these day 3 guys. It looks like the only one is the safety, Moore, who looks like he might be okay. So I want to accumulate as many high picks as we can. I wouldn't be against trading some of these later second day picks and moving up too, because we just haven't had anybody that we can trust drafting on that 5th round or later. So I just want to accumulate as many first, second, and third round picks as absolutely possible, and
Look,
Charleston,
try. Rube, they have 5 over the next 2 years. They have 4 picks alone in the top 50. They have resources. Get it right. Sean Payton took over Denver. It was a way worse situation it was perceived to be, right? The Russ dead cap hit. Oh, my God. They get the 5th quarterback selected in round 1 of that year. Bo Nix. Coaching, man. In the playoffs last year, the 1 seed this year. They finished 8-9 in year 1. Year 2 in the playoffs. Year 3, the 1 seed. That's coaching. Figure it out, man. Everyone's like, oh, so afraid to take it. Like, you need to have a real quarterback. But yes, to get the quarterback, you need to have a real coach that knows how to develop that guy. I don't think they have that on the staff right now. That's the problem. Charles London is going to develop Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore. Does anyone actually believe that? Good call, Rube. Good to hear from you. I want to congratulate Isaiah Williams on winning the Jets Team MVP award. Think about this. He was cut, came back, was unbelievable, got snubbed from the Pro Bowl, and he was voted the team MVP. I thought Nick Folk maybe would have won it, or even Austin McNamara. maybe Brees if they wanted to pick an offensive player. So I don't want to diminish what Isaiah Williams has done. I was as critical as anyone when they brought him back after what happened in that Dolphins game. He stunk, right? But give Glenn and Banjo credit for their conviction in this guy because he's turned out to be awesome. So I don't want to minimize him winning team MVP. That's awesome. Good for him. Great story. But this is such a problem that he's the team MVP, right? Doesn't it kind of speak volumes on what this season has been? Again, I'm not trying to diminish Isaiah Williams. It's an amazing story. All the credit in the world to him. But when your team MVP is a punt/kick returner, it kind of tells you all you need to know. Comments, questions, super chats will cut the line. Ladies and gentlemen, it's officially 2026, which means Asmaniac Madness will occur this year. The defending champ is on the line for his first call of the new year, and we have a new intro for the champ of Asmaniac Madness 2025.
The only thing worse than the New York Jets is cheap-ass shoes and head coach blues. At least we got Muji and some first-round picks. Jake, my brother, I'm trying to get hype, but this team sucks, and Joe Bonesy needs me to sell new flippers to this fat dumpster fire.
Gator. He can always make us smile, even in the toughest times,
Oh, these are some tough times. That is for sure.
Yeah, I mean, where do you go? Where do you go from here? Even yesterday couldn't work out for us. Mendoza had to look just absolutely awesome, so we have zero chance to get him. It's just my new dream is hoping that Dante Moore really has a good run right now, and it actually becomes like an actual decision, like that they have to make, because watching Mendoza yesterday kind of made you feel like, yeah, I mean, he's probably the best quarterback,
Look, I think you look at Moore, he'll get another chance to keep showing what he could do. It'll be good to see that matchup. And here's the thing too. We could overrate these playoff games. Remember, Justin Fields looked so good against Clemson in that playoff game, threw 6 touchdowns. He still didn't go number 2. Zach still went in front of him. He didn't even go. He wasn't even the third quarterback taken that year. So, these games are fun to get excited about, but there's so many different things that happen from now until the actual draft that teams factor into their evaluation. The interviews, the pre-draft workouts, the combine. There's so many examples of a guy that we think is going to be this clear-cut lock to go in the top 5 or number 1, and then it doesn't end up happening. So I'm not going to go crazy over anything yet, because we've seen how quickly it all changes by the time we get close to the draft. The perception of these players changes.
I agree. Things happen all the time. You remember when it was a gone conclusion that Sam Darnold's going number 1, and then you got the Baker. Baker ended up going number 1. So it definitely can happen, but I don't know. Dante just looks to me, by watching that game yesterday, that he needs to go back to school. So, and of course, yeah, right. When's he going to get the chance to be a top? If he learns anything from last year, when everyone's like, "Yeah, you got to wait for this year." Now there's no quarterback, so you should probably go when you can. But it's a tough time, man. It is a depressing, sad time for Jet fans. I can only, because I don't like being. We're being super negative right now, right? You are completely out on Glenn. But there's a high chance that we're stuck with this guy. So all I can just from a mental standpoint, the only positive thing that I can try to talk to myself into is the most common denominator in a franchise turning around, besides, head coach with X's and O's and being ahead on that side of the ball, but it's quarterback. And if he could somehow fix the Jets' jinx of getting the wrong player, picking the wrong quarterback, developing him wrong. That's the only thing you can hang your head on is hoping that because if he gets the quarterback right, he doesn't seem to me like a coach that is an X's and O's guy. We didn't get that type of coach. Not comparing him to Mike Tomlin, but I'm just giving you Tomlin's not an X and O's guy. He's got his two coordinators that call the things. That's what Glenn does. Glenn is more of like, to me, deserves to be like on the staff of for drafting and scouting and CEO department, not GM level and not coach. Doesn't seem he's a leader of men, and it's not working, right? So the only thing that can fix that is getting the quarterback right. Because if you get the quarterback right, there's been some rumblings about the offensive staff that they're trying to replace a bunch of people around Tanner, not replace Tanner himself, but get some better infrastructure going there. You got to bring in a veteran guy who's going to want to come, like everyone's dreams, like Dable to be I think Dable's going to get a better opportunity than quarterback coach. You know what I mean?
I just wonder how attractive is the job for someone that is qualified to be on an offensive staff that has other options, because the perception is he's on the hot seat, Aaron Glenn, and if he survives this, right? Like that's the perception, that if he doesn't show major improvement, he's gone. So it's just, if you're an accomplished either defensive coordinator candidate or you're an accomplished OC or quarterback coach, whatever, look, Glenn's got to sell them on his vision, whatever that may be. But when they ask the question, why would we go there if you're on the hot seat, that's tough to overcome. It is. Saleh went through this when he tried to find a Hackett replacement, and he couldn't. So that's a concern of mine. And again, he was so bad with these hires for his staff besides Banjo, who was recommended to him by the great Mike Westhoff. Like, who could help Aaron Glenn hire a better coaching staff this go around? That's the only chance he has of survival.
Tanner, to me, didn't get a fair chance, man. I mean, granted, our offensive line has improved.
It's so bad though, Bonesy. I was super critical of Mike LaFleur, but like he was way better than Engstrand with worse quarterbacks he was dealing with.
No, but at least
Zach Wilson as a rookie. You know, he had the Mike White game where they beat the Bengals. Like there was
Josh Johnson had that great game against the Colts, that one filling game. Yeah, Joe Flacco who had the comeback win again. No, listen, I know Mike LaFleur was probably a better, but he was a little more seasoned to me. I think he had a little more experience than Tanner. I'm not completely out. Like I don't look at Tanner like I did at Hackett and like these where you're just like, what are these play calls? I'm more looking at like my guy, Brady Cook, who I just knew how bad Justin Fields was. I wanted anybody else. But, like, Tanner and Tyrod Taylor look pretty good to me with, like, these – we can't forget the roster as well. Like, I know Garrett's not out there. Both receivers that are 1 and 2 weren't even on the team.
These were their choices, though. That's what alarms me. Like, we knew they needed more playmakers going into the year. They did nothing. Garrett's going to lead them in receiving yards. He hasn't played since October, early October.
Disgusting.
And look at the offense here, right? Like week 1 was obviously the craziest outlier. And just look at the trend. It's not like there was like a moment where they showed a couple good weeks in a row of competency. Look at the scoring. Look at the total. Like once we got to like week 7, they were 29th in scoring. And they had a couple blips here. Let's see. I guess the better indication would just be total offense because that factors in passing, rushing.
But the offense was so it felt, I don't know. It felt worse. I don't know. The Justin Fields offense, like we were at the Panthers game.
Oh my God.
And it's just like it felt like Zach Wilson, but worse. Like it was like he just melts. He's just so mentally weak that he just has like a couple bad things happening. He can't get himself out of it. And if he's not running the ball because his knee, if he's not running, that was another thing. All we talked about in the offseason was like Fields playing quarterback, and it's like the guy can play quarterback, and then you guys don't even like lean on the run heavy with him. But look, we have a lot of issues, but what would it look like? Even let's say for argument's sake, Glenn gets fired, right? Now we have to go back into the coaching search with the Giants in there as well, looking for a fresh, brand new guy to take Dart under his wing with a pick ahead of us. And what kind of coaching people are going to want to come to us where Woody commits to Glenn and then fires him after 1 year? Like, I wonder what would be our options, like why didn't we even interview Mike McCarthy? Was it Mike McCarthy not wanting to come here, or was it a Woody thing? Like, why? There's so many things I have of just like, because no matter what you want to say, everybody knows how out I was, in the offseason when we first got rid of Rodgers and Fields was the future and what Glenn was saying and how he was acting. I kept saying every call that this guy's balls are huge. He's guaranteeing all this stuff. And what happens when it fails? And here we are with the most catastrophic fail. Like, I don't know, man.
It really could not have gone worse, Bonesy, if you think about it. Like, you and I are very positive Jet fan. I know people don't believe that right now, but like anyone who's watched me for longer than just the season knows it's true. Like, I can't give you anything, man. There's nothing. I lived through covering David Culley and Lovie Smith in back-to-back years. Like, this is what it is. Like, I'm telling you. Like, Aaron Glenn is David Culley 2.0. Like, people go watch some David Culley press conferences when he was the head coach of the Texans. It's so Glenn-like. It's hilarious to me. But it's just, this is where we are. And Woody could do two things about it. Nothing, which is likely, or run this back, or be bold and realize you made a mistake and find a proven coach. Or if you're going to do the first time thing, an offensive coach for your quarterback, because that's the biggest thing to getting out of this rut.
I don't even see that in the cards. I honestly, I cannot see Woody admitting his wrongs. It's not in his DNA. I will support Woody Johnson and start backing him as an owner if he fires. He's not doing it. And the only thing I can hang my hat on is, let's just say that Glenn picks a quarterback that isn't a disaster. You might look back on this as he made some great trades that gave us ammunition to really, really change the dynamic of the roster in the first day or two of the draft for the next 2 years. And I don't know where else to take my head, because I can't sit here. Like, I just got too much shit going on in life to be so, I'm so just depressed. Like, I'm just like, so like, it's just so sad. Last thing I want to say is, just think back to that feeling you had when Rodgers was coming out of the stadium against, like, that. I don't think I've ever had that type of emotions. I don't know when in life. That was a special feeling. And the fact that it was only 2 years or 2.5 years ago, however long it was ago. And now we're here with no hope, no future, no nothing. I was saying to my kids when that game and like that offseason, like, my kids are gonna actually have a chance to have a nice positive Jet Rodgers run. Rodgers coming in talking about, like, it's just look what I'm doing to this kid. Look at this kid. What's he wearing right now?
Look at him. Look at him. What's up, Sonny?
All right.
How you doing?
Good.
How was your New Year?
Yeah, how was New Year's?
Good.
What'd you
Fun?
do? He's got new Madden, right?
Yes, it sucks.
Does he play as the Jets in Madden?
Of course. He does a lot of the fantasy drafts where he's just everybody, but he's never had a team that doesn't have. He always drafts Garrett and he always drafts Rodgers still, because unfortunately, as a dad, I kind of brainwashed him way too early about the Rodgers love that we can't shake. So we're going into this game for Steelers Sunday night. We're rooting for our guy. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for him too. I'd like to see him, at least end his career with one last playoff run potentially, even if it's only a game. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's brutal, Bones. Hopefully we're dead wrong and it gets better.
Hopefully what, Jake?
I don't know.
We got nothing right now, bro.
I don't know. Hopefully I got no hope. So I'll just wait and see like everyone else.
All right, man. I miss you guys, and I'll definitely call in soon. Hold on. Somebody wants to do a Jet chant before we keep
might be considered child abuse, some are saying.
So true. Right,
Jets.
Let's go.
Woo!
Sonny, you're awesome. This is for you.
Jets.
Again, clearly child abuse, but we got the best fan base in all of sports. You can't even argue it. Marvelous in the raffle for 10. Everything is double. Only one show today. I'm on the radio from 3 to 7 on ESPN New York for 4 hours. So this is the only show, hence why everything is double. And I'm holding in my hands a signed jersey by the great Freeman McNeil. So if you want it, make sure you enter the Asmaniac raffle. Marvelous. Thank you. I got you down. Charleston Jets Rube, who had a great call before, says, longing for the days of Toon, McNeil, and O'Brien. I'm working on some Kenny O raffle prizes too. I know a couple people reached out about that. Doing my best. We got some 80s stuff this week in the weekly, right? With the Klecko jersey. We did the sack exchange football yesterday, so it's all coming together. Joey Matt says, I want Glenn out, but nobody's going to want to come here. The owner is a toxic imbecile. Again, fair. You could say that. I could tell you it's not true. People will want this job. Might not get your number one, but you could find someone. Look around. Look at this list here. Who was Dave Canales when he took over for Frank Reich working for that owner? Remember David Tepper was the worst owner in sports for a little bit? Again, this list is the thing that every Jet fan needs to pay attention to, and I give all the credit to Michael Nania for putting it together for those who are just tuning into the show today. Look at the category in the middle. Playoffs under replacement. Pierce is a no, but that led to Pete Carroll. They now have the number one pick. They'll get a good coach for Fernando Mendoza. David Culley led to Lovey. I was there. Lovey stunk. They moved on. They got D'Amico. The rest is history in Houston. Hackett led to Sean Payton. Urban Meyer led to Doug Peterson, who made the playoffs his first year there. Freddie Kitchens led to Kevin Stefanski, who has made the playoffs twice in Cleveland. He might be fired. I would take him in 2 seconds for the Jets. Is he the perfect candidate? No, those don't exist. We need competency. We need an offensive guy. He fits, as does McCarthy for what it's worth. But anyone who's listened to the show knows where I stand on that. Steve Wilkes in Arizona led to Cliff Kingsbury. Chip Kelly led to Kyle Shanahan. Again, Dave Canales might make the playoffs on Saturday, so that would be a green yes. Danger zone. What's it say about Lazard being a free agent without Metcalf? I'm surprised Pittsburgh didn't bring him in. I think we all are. Leany in North Carolina in the raffle for 2. Shout out to you, Leany. And I got your Venmo too, by the way. Very funny. And thanks for all your support. Brandon says Chambliss in round 2. Okay. Now I'm open to the idea. I need to see more. I need to do more prep on him and see more film on him. We'll do that with Joe Blewett this week. Big fella checks in. You know what? I read that. I think we might actually be caught up on the super chats. Excellent. Let's get to more of your calls, shall we? Let's go to a guy who's too cool.
Adam is cool, although kind of basic. He claims he's too cool, though often quite basic. He makes great jet points, looks a little basic. Adam is cool, too cool, but basic. Some would say generic.
Hey, Happy New Year, Jake. How's it going?
Happy New Year, Adam. What's going on?
Yeah, you're spot on, because I think if the Jets fans on the couch can say I could do a better job coaching, then literally every candidate is going to go in and say there's no way I could be as bad as this. So there's going to be plenty of people wanting this job to start with. I think it's crazy to think that no one's going to want to be here if Woody fires him after 1 year. It's actually the opposite logic, right? If you keep him at this point, you're basically tolerating incompetence.
Yeah, 100%.
The other way around.
This would be, again, Aaron Glenn, if he ever took the Jets to the playoffs, would be one of the biggest outliers we have ever seen. There have been 27 head coaches since 2001 that won 4 or fewer games in their first season. And only 6 of them had at least one winning season. And if we take it a step further, only 5 of them made the playoffs. 4 made it one season and did not win a game. Zach Taylor is the only head coach with multiple playoff appearances and a playoff win. He has Joe Burrow. who is one of the better quarterbacks we've seen in the league in the last 20 years. So
Yeah, there's
again,
no Joe Burrow in this
this
draft.
is the data. If we want to bet on outliers, great. If we want to say he needs another year because he was a Jet, great. Enjoy the 5-win season next year, and we'll do the search in 2027. I'm trying to be proactive and get out in front of it because I see where this goes. But if Woody Johnson disagrees, he owns the team. There's nothing we can do as fans.
Yeah, except continue, our feelings about Woody as an owner, that he just not getting it, doesn't understand it, just wants to copycat it, wanted to fast track it with the 33rd team. We don't talk enough about how it was a complete copycat move of the Commanders. And to be fair, Commanders have one of the best backup quarterbacks in Mariota. What's their excuse for having a terrible season?
Fair.
Right? Like, what's their excuse, to be fair? And I'm sorry, I know you're.
Well, they get another season because they were in the NFC Championship with the rookie last year, and that guy was hurt. So
yeah,
I mean, that's why you're not going to blow it up yet. But there'll be questions about Quinn going into year 3 when it's this bad after a year. That's how it goes.
So we just copy that, hope for it. Try and grab some people from Detroit, thinking we can copy that. Like, how about some creative thinking next time around?
Yeah, let's just hire
an offensive coach
with experience. Or if you are going to do the first time thing again, hire an offensive coach. Don't do defensive coordinator whose defenses weren't that good in Detroit anyway. Don't do that again. You hired a worse version of Robert Saleh to this point. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I just think I think the players are going to perform better under a new coach, because it just seems like
I think he's lost the players. We'll see on Sunday with that. Yeah, I agree. I think the effort comments was Gerard Mayo last year calling the Patriots players soft and then walking it back. He lost them. I think we're seeing the same here with Glenn potentially. Be fascinating to see what they look like. FanDuel, our sponsor, has the Jets now as just a 7-point underdog in this one. And I think this is free money to bet the Bills. Last game ever in that stadium.
Exactly.
Their backups will be motivated. The Jets are starting Brady Cook again. Tippmann's banged up. There's some other injuries here. Brees might not play. The Bills are still going to be motivated in front of all their alumni that are back. Last game ever there to show out. How are the Jets keeping this within 7? This feels like free money.
It's just why would they want to win? Why does anyone want to perpetuate this season even further and create some kind of false hope? I know the players will get a chance to win next year. This game is not the game for them to win. Big picture, and hopefully we'll get the number 2 if we're lucky. I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath either, but 3 is bad news with Ty Simpson performing the way that he did. So I don't.
You have to move up a spot with the Giants at 2 if you want more. If he's the second guy.
If that, and that's assuming, I think a lot of people love Moore over Mendoza still. Maybe the Raiders are going to feel that way. They're going to see they want the bigger swing. I don't think anyone here would be disappointed if Mendoza fell to us, or if we just had to go up 1 spot, because there'll be some competition for that Giants pick. But trading all the way up to 1 and that's probably not a good idea, as I've said multiple times. I think we all kind of feel that way for the most part. Mendoza's he's an amazing player. It's a system. Because Curtis Rourke last year also performed really well while injured, and he was putting up really good numbers too. I think he was top 10 Heisman voting as well last year. People don't remember that. And then the team that picked up Rourke, even though he was injured for the season, 49ers, which I thought was very interesting, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we got to look at the Indiana system too. Mendoza's an amazing quarterback because he executes, right? It's all about execution. It's also a super balanced offense, which is why he's not going to have prolific 30 attempts a game, because they don't need to when they're running the ball 250 yards a game. But that's the kind of team that Mendoza is going to need to be on to be effective. So are the Jets going to be a 50-50 team next year with the new regime? I guess that's going to be the big question. Are they going to be run first again, as they said? So I don't know. What do you think in terms of the balanced offense? Were we imbalanced this year in terms of run first? Was it run only basically? What's your take on the mix here, and what do you think the cause of that was?
For the Jets, you're saying?
Yeah, for the Jets. Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, I think they wanted to be this team around Fields, and then Fields didn't run the ball. He played scared. I think that concussion changed how he approached playing the position after that.
Yeah. It's a shame it didn't work out. I mean, it was a gamble.
Did we really think it was going to work out? Mike Tomlin benched Justin Fields a year ago when they were 4-2 for Russell Wilson, who we saw this year is washed. Shouldn't that tell you all you need to know? This was the guy that the Jets had to give $30 million to and say he's never been coached up properly. I get the upside with Fields. You got to. It's not just the move; it's the contract, the quotes, they don't get to just say, lottery ticket didn't work. Buffalo Jet fan made this point on his show. He's right. $30 million is not just a lottery ticket. It's not. It's not a lottery ticket. Look at the Jets cap situation. They'd have even more money if they didn't have the Rodgers cap hit split over 2 years and now dealing with Justin Fields for like a $20 million dead charge for 9 games of Fields this year as a starter. It's unbelievable. Draft Geek, Super Chat. Give Sonny a QB to cheer for many years to come, for God's sake. Yeah, Sonny Bonesy, man. I hope at some point in his life he sees a team that doesn't suck. God. Philly Noodles, where's the QB cell on that spreadsheet? I don't have that. I'm just showing you that, again, some of these coaches that were one and dones, they actually had the quarterback and they were that terrible. Gerard Mayo had Drake May a year ago. He did. All right. Urban Meyer had Trevor Lawrence. Kitchens had Baker Mayfield. Remember Baker had the great rookie year? This was his second year in 2019. You want to come up with whatever excuse you want, Philly, to try and retain this coach. That is your right as a fan. I will not tell you you're wrong for having an opinion. I'm simply just telling you the numbers are the numbers. If you want to accentuate the positives, like the Jets being 2025 champions of field goal protection, you do you. All right? I'll give you a hug for that.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Me personally, though, I'm going to sit here and just try and call it how it is and be honest. I don't think Aaron Glenn deserves a second year. I think it's been that bad. I think this is the time to actually be bold and look at our resources and infrastructure we could have in place for a young quarterback and feel like we actually have the right plan in place to have a shot, to not suck. Justin Herbert, 2023, 5-12. Yeah, again, it's not just the quarterback. The Jets last year had a better record than Jacksonville and New England. What changed with those teams? Jets Johnny says, AG doesn't have a QB. That's the big difference. Stop bringing up Fields. That's simple. We all know we ended up with Fields. We didn't choose him. No, they chose him. Aaron Glenn said he chose him. He says, I picked him because he was tough to game plan against in Detroit. That's what he said. Don't tell me that we didn't choose Fields. No, they did. Jameis Winston was available. Jacoby Brissett was available. Mac Jones was available. Now, am I going to sit here and be like, those guys would have been great? Obviously not, because the coaching is so bad. That's why, yes, I wanted them to bring back Rodgers and bring back Devontae, but Rodgers would not have worked here. Not with this coaching staff. The defense still would have been a disaster. And all the blame would have been levied at Rodgers. We'd lose sight of the fact the blame is on this head coach who's not qualified to be an NFL head coach. He's proven that this year. And we can pretend otherwise. That's fine. But enough. There were other options. We don't need to sit here and act like it was only Justin Fields. And I'll admit, well, I understood the appeal of Fields because of the upside. I've never been the biggest fan of him. But for me, it was like, okay, well, at the bare minimum, at least the arrow was trending up following his last year in Chicago and then his play in Pittsburgh. Like, at least you had that. He's never been worse as a Jet. And I don't want to defend Fields. He stinks. He quit on the team. I can't stand the guy. But if you look at how he played with the Jets compared to how he played in his previous stops, what are we talking about? They picked all these quarterbacks on the roster. They could have drafted Shedeur Sanders if they wanted to. They could have took Tyler Shuck. They could have took any of these quarterbacks. Brady Cook is starting games. That's on them. Tyrod Taylor, we know, is always injured. We got to be honest. Again, people try and twist themselves into a pretzel to defend what's going on here. That won't be me. I will root for myself to be wrong because I love the Jets and I want this fan base to actually be able to enjoy winning football. But I don't see it. You know what really sucks about all this? That I'm actually in a position where I have to agree with someone that we all know is the woat of all woats.
They call me Alan and everybody hates me cause I'm a super douchebag.
Good Morning, Jake.
Hello, Alan. Happy New Year.
I'm sick and not really a great mood, but I need to get something off my chest because this needs to be said, and it'll be a little controversial, but I have to get it off my chest. Billionaires like Woody Johnson buy sports franchises for two reasons. Number one, to get a shit ton return. I mean, he bought the team in 2000 for $635 million, and 25 years later, it's worth $9 billion. The second reason billionaires like Woody Johnson buy a team is status. He wants to be the cool kid on the block. He wants to be invited to all the parties. He just wants to be revered, okay? In 2016, as you know, he was appointed as ambassador to the UK under the Trump administration. And with that came backlash, obviously. 9 years later, he hired Aaron Glenn, okay? He's not in the administration. He hired Aaron Glenn, okay? Do you honestly believe, okay? And I'm with you. I think Aaron Glenn has done a putrid job and he should be one and done. If anybody in this chat honestly believes that he is going to fire a black head coach 1 year into his 5-year tenure and not get completely the backlash from the Ryan Clarks, the Jamel Hills, the Stephen A. Smiths.
Cal McNair did the same exact thing. He did it twice. David Culley's black. Lovie Smith is black.
Again, Woody Johnson is not going to do that.
Why?
There is no
Cal
chance.
McNair did it. Robert Kraft fired a black coach after a year
Woody
last year.
Johnson is not going to do that.
Whoever
And
owns
I
the
think he
Cardinals, I
should.
don't know. The Bidwell family, they fired Steve Wilkes after a year.
Woody Johnson is in all those parties. Okay. He will not do it.
What do you talk, Alan? I'm not going there. I don't think race has anything to do with it. All right. You could say a lot of things about Woody Johnson, but if anyone dares to try and call the guy racist, how many black head coaches has he hired since he's been the Jet owner? Let's be honest. And Sal is a minority candidate too. Oh, by the way, minority coach. I don't think race has anything to do with this. I think let's just objectively analyze football here. Herm Edwards, Todd Bowles, Robert Saleh, Aaron Glenn. This race has nothing to do with it. I'm not trying to defend Woody Johnson, but I think the idea he wouldn't move on from Glenn is not because Aaron Glenn happens to be black. That's ridiculous. I don't want to go down this path, but the one thing you can't knock the Jets hire more minority coaches than any team in the league over the last 20 years, I'm pretty sure. So you could say a lot of things about Woody Johnson here, but if anyone tries to insinuate that if he fired Aaron Glenn, it's a race-motivated decision, you're out of your mind. When Cal McNair was being accused of such things, and he did it with two different African-American, minority, black, or whatever you say, head coaches. That happened. Robert Kraft just did the same thing a year ago. Again, since Woody's been the owner, Herm, Bowles, Saleh, Glenn, all minorities. Philly says, what does Mike T have to say about any of this going on now? Well, tune in Sunday morning on ESPN New York. Mike T and I will have our show. People could call in, too. Would love for Jet fans who are as angry as I am with the way things are to call in on Sunday morning, please. (800-919-3776) is the number to call, by the way. What do we got here? Some super chats. We're all caught up. We got the raffle coming up here. I'm on the radio in a few hours, so home stretch for the show. Let's get to some legends before we wrap this baby up. Here we go. It's Clifton time.
Come on, Jake.
Hello, Mr. Clifton.
So I do value Alan's dissenting opinions, but in this instance, I wildly disagree. I think that his personal relationship with Glenn is the real reason that he's too cowardly to fire him.
Yeah, and here's the thing too, Kyle. Alan, I don't think was trying to say, if it came across in my explanation there, that like Woody is a racist. That's he was trying to say that Woody would be accused of that, which there
Yeah,
might
no,
be like the
I
race
know what he
baiting
was trying
people.
to.
Yeah, like I
Yeah,
understand what he's trying to say. I don't believe for a second though anyone with a brain would actually think that would be true given Woody's history and the situation here. That was my point. I don't think Alan was saying that Woody would be racist.
yeah. I mean, it might be something that's out there in the ether, but all you have to do is think about the Jets' history, and then it kind of dissipates pretty quickly. Um, yeah, I didn't get to watch all the games yesterday. I think the whole idea that um, Moore played poorly, I think, is incorrect. He had one bad decision, but otherwise, I thought his protection early in the game was horrific. And then once the offense started to click and get it together a little bit, he played great. Just as far as I'm concerned. As far as Simpson goes, I think that there's still a chance he might come out, depending. If he thinks he can sneak into the back of the first round, I think he's got a shot. I think he might be able to lean on the fact that that Alabama team just generally on offense is really not that good. And he did get hurt in the playoff game, so I mean he's got that to kind of excuse him a little bit. He's someone that if he were to fall to day two, that you would definitely have to consider if he does come out. But I think his problem is, as an older prospect who's going to be getting some heat from some of the new recruits that are in Alabama, that's a decision he's going to have to make. You know, I think Engstrand, to what Bonesy was talking about, it's a little early to say. I haven't been a great proponent of Glenn. I'm a little frustrated with the last 6 or 7 weeks, but I will tell you, in the beginning of the season, the analysts that you have on that are very knowledgeable and do a great job of pointing out scheme did say that we had guys running open downfield. So that to me tells me that that Triggerman wasn't running the offense correctly, and I think we could see that a little bit with Fields. He was kind of a deer in the headlights. He wasn't running when he should. He was holding the ball too long. There were a ton of problems with that. I don't know if we can get past some of these problems with the people that are on the current staff. But at the very least, some of these offensive changes, they have to take hold, and we have to have someone who can cultivate a young quarterback. That's the bare minimum. If Glenn, whether it's Glenn here or anybody.
Yeah, and like part of my like reaction to reading that report from Breer. Okay, so Engstrand's safe, but like, isn't the offensive coordinator the most important part of the development of the quarterback? Like, yes, I've been critical of the Charles London hire as the QB coach, but let's be real. We give credit to the OC when we see great quarterback play from a team that has either a defensive head coach or like a Harbaugh, Tomlin, CEO type that oversees the operation. Like Mike Vrabel's not getting all the credit for Drake May's development. He's getting lauded for hiring McDaniels, who has helped develop Drake May. You know what I mean? Like, so Engstrand staying, he's got one of the worst offenses in the league this year. There's been very little improvement, even with some of the quarterback change. It's been a little better when Tyrod was healthy and playing, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not convinced Tanner Engstrand is safe, I guess is the conclusion I'm coming to. I could see him being fired on Black Monday if Glenn is retained.
Yeah, I mean, if he is, there's absolutely no reason to keep Glenn if the two
right
coordinators.
That's my point.
Yeah, but like, I'm trying to think like with an offensive coordinator, there is a little bit of growing pains. Like we saw it with LaFleur, like we saw that there was something there, but until you get your feet wet and get a little bit of experience in the role, I don't. It's for a veteran defensive coordinator like Wilkes, and when things weren't working right away, you knew he had to go. But with some of these younger offense coordinators that are well thought of, and apparently, Engstrom was very involved in those game plans with Ben Johnson. I don't know if it behooves us to hit the pause button and say, well, let's see what he can do with somebody else pulling the trigger. I appreciate it, Jake.
Yeah, Kyle, great call. Great call. It's such a messed up situation. Again, if Engstrand is fired and Glenn is retained, what are we doing? Every decision this guy made, besides Banjo, who was recommended by Westhoff, right, is a disaster. So I honestly, I'd fire Engstrand if I could get, he'll never take the job because he's best friends with Robert Saleh. If I could get Mike McDaniel if the Dolphins fire him, right? Like, I would take Brian Dable as my OC, or at least, I need someone who's done it. We could question how good of an OC Dable even is when you look at but he had conviction on Dart. Dart played his best with Dable. He helped Allen develop. You can't take that away from him. Somebody. Brian Dable's not taking the quarterback coach job. He's overqualified for that. Tough. Les Komar in the raffle for 2. Thank you to Les. Give him a hug.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
There's pain being a Jet fan, folks. Never ends. Never ends. Amsterdam Jet fan is next. Home stretch before the raffle. Hello, Amsterdam.
Yo, Jake, how you doing?
What's up, my friend? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and all the Asmaniacs. And yeah, I usually only call in when the vibes are good, but it's been so long.
I don't know if you want the vibes to be good. I don't know when the next time that will be.
Well, that's I was like, well, F it. I'm calling in. But no,
people think I'm negative too, which is so funny because anyone who's watched the show for longer than a year could not be more wrong.
Yeah, no, I know, and I'm one of the more positives out there, and I've been following this team much longer. Even 81 was my first season. I remember as a fan. And speaking of Todd and Freeman and McNeil t-shirts, I'm going to do a membership thing in a second. But my entire life, I don't think I've ever seen something like this. I mean, I've certainly never really actively followed a tank. I don't think. I mean, the Kotite year, I didn't see that much because I was living in Europe at the time, so we didn't have access in the 90s to the games. But were we actively tanking that year? Do you even know? I have no idea, actually.
What year are you bringing up?
96, or I guess.
No, I was Kotite. They were trying to win. They just sucked.
Yeah, they just sucked. Okay, so I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Well, I can't remember, and it's easily the worst bit of coaching I've ever experienced. And I love Aaron Glenn, and as a person and as a player, of course. But throughout the ever since he got hired, I don't think I've ever seen one thing in terms of intangibles, like the way he comes across or how he handles certain situations, not the X's and O's, which you don't really get in press conferences or anything like that, but just it just looks like you said, like he doesn't really know what to do, which is, I think, the most concerning thing out of everything. So if we're not the only ones that see that, so I understand Woody Johnson's, or all the talk about not being able to fire him after 1 year. At some point, there's enough bad out there that you do that, right? So where is that line? Even for Woody, there has to be a line at some point. And I don't think I've seen any argument at all that he's on the right side of that line. You know what I mean? I mean, whatever. I'm saying the same thing that you're saying, but I've just never seen anything like that. And that's coming from an older Jet fan. So my main concern, though, is okay, if you're going to consider it, you have to know who's going to be the replacement. So I could potentially see them waiting to see what shakes out on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And who knows if a Harbaugh or whatever goes, or Tomlin, that would be weird. But who would you be okay with, Jake, to take over if next week the decision gets made? Is that a big list?
Yeah, I mean, again, McCarthy, Cliff Kingsbury, Kevin Stefanski, 3 offensive coaches with experience. McCarthy would be my number one choice of those names. Clint, if we're going to do the first timer, Clint Kubiak, the OC of the Seahawks, is on my list. Josh McCown would be on my list. If no one else wants the job, at least he was a Jet. By the way, so was Cliff Kingsbury. Let's bring him back. He's handsome. I'm just like I really don't want a defensive minded coach, but if I had to, like Brian Flores, who I wanted last year, of their names would be the choice. Someone would take the job, though, is my point. I don't think you maybe don't get your top candidate, but it's one of 32. It pays incredibly well, and you have 5 ones over the next 2 years and 100 million in cap space the next 2 years. You could set yourself up to actually win with the Jets.
No, I get that, but I'm just afraid of then the idea that, well, just anybody will do as long as it'll be better than Aaron Glenn.
I think it's got to be someone very specifically that fits what we need, which is an
Yeah.
offensive-minded coach, preferably with experience.
Right. And you don't believe in Tanner as an offensive coordinator?
I have not seen enough where I need to just definitively bring him back if I could get someone that is a clear upgrade or someone that is proven.
Did I hear you say his job's in danger?
Well, I'm just reading the tea leaves here, right? If Albert Breer is writing a Hill story, how they're going to adjust their offensive staff, and he says, as it stands now, I think it will mean changes around Engstrand. That means that's subject to change. Again, if you're making all these changes around the offensive coordinator staff,
Not yet. Yeah.
what are you doing? You know, like at that point, just bring in a new offensive coordinator if you have this many issues with the staff. Now, maybe they are going to keep Engstrand, but I haven't seen enough from him where it's like I definitely need to keep him. I'm not going to say he can't do a good job, but I'm at a point now where I'm not going to sit here and be that upset if they got rid of him. But if they got rid of him, so you fire your OC and DC, is clueless remains, that doesn't make any sense.
No, I think that's also one of the reasons it won't happen. But what about the quarterbacks from yesterday? Did you feel okay about Moore or no?
I thought he was okay. I don't think it was anything special. Yeah, he didn't have great protection for a lot of that game. We'll see how he looks in Indiana now. Mendoza looked great, but that was domination up front at the line of scrimmage. He's still my QB1, and I guess we got to start paying attention to Chambliss now because
he was
so impressive,
amazing.
so good.
I hadn't watched Ole Miss all year. That was amazing. So somebody said him in the second round. Fine by me if it means we don't get the 1 or 2 or maybe Moore goes back to school. Looks like he could probably use another year actually.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get an Arvo Reese or the safety guy or and then get him. If you can get him in the second round, then you could get 2 awesome starters from the first round. So I like that idea. Sit the guy for a whole year, have Malik or somebody else come in that's capable, to take a whole season on. I could see that. I'm afraid, as everybody is, that we're just going to basically see sort of a carbon copy next year.
Unfortunately, I think if this head coach is retained, I think we're getting ready for the Eberflus, Brian Callahan situation.
Exactly. Yeah, and kudos to Ben Johnson for what he's done with Caleb, by the way. I mean, that's an exact example, right?
That's coaching. And again, their defense leads the NFL in takeaways. He hired a great staff. That's coaching. Aaron Glenn, what's your excuse? You hired a horrific
that guy available? The Al Harris is his name, right?
Yeah, I mean, would he take this job, though? I don't know. Glenn's going to have to sell him on it, right? If you're a top DC candidate, are you going to the Jets? I don't know.
Or would Glenn go to DC and get another new head coach?
If he resigned, I would thank him for his service. Oh my God, he's not gonna demote himself to DC. Is my point.
No, but that would. I don't even know at this point if I want that.
No,
I don't.
His defenses were not that good in Detroit.
No,
that's the problem.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's when he first got the job, I realized he's my age, and that's the first thing that scared me. I was like, oh shit, the guy's actually maybe it's too late. He's, like you said, he's bypassed, the modern NFL has kind of bypassed him a little bit. It looks like.
It's unfortunate, Amsterdam Jet fan. Great call. Always love your passion. Here are the defenses for Glenn in Detroit, folks. All right, we don't need to pretend like he's some defensive mastermind. They don't have an interception yet this year. Not one. Not a single INT. He played corner in the NFL and was a Pro Bowl corner. And then I got to listen to, what really bothered me? And look, he won't be the DC. We know this. The defense has sucked since he took over. Anyone who actually watched Chris Harris's press conference yesterday, he's up there smiling and laughing about the fact that they don't have an INT. I'd fire that guy today if I own the Jets. Yeah, it's just it's very unusual. He's laughing about it. Really? You should be embarrassed by that. Professional pride. 16 games. You broke an NFL record. No one's ever done that. Not one pick all year. And he's like, man, I've never seen anything like it. Very unusual. No, it's historic. It shows ineptitude. This comment made me laugh from BBA. I shit my pants. Let's change everything but my underwear. That would be the Jets firing Engstrand after they fired Wilkes and making all these staff changes, but keeping the head coach. It's unreal. Hey, shout out to Rick. He is the Amsterdam Jet fan. A 10 spot of memberships. He's in the raffle for 20 as we count the names and enter the home stretch.
Don't let go of the rope. Don't let go of the rope.
20 raffle tickets for Rick if you got a membership from him. Cashmere Black, Kyle Smith, Antonio Amoroso, one Rem fan, Mr. Flowers, Jets Johnny, a.k.a. I simp for Glenn. I'm a bootlicker. Retire 80 already. Kyle Clifton and D. King all receiving a membership. Also, Chris Bragian, a channel member too. By the way, Jets Johnny, on a serious note, congrats on baby Evan and the Asmaniac onesie that I told you I was going to send you. The order was placed. So you will get that maybe this week or early next week. Everyone congratulate Jets Johnny in the chat on the birth of his new son. And also, everyone congratulate Jets Johnny on being the #1 bootlicker for Aaron Glenn. All right, home stretch. We got Pork, Gary, and then Beast to send us to the raffle. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. It's Pork in the morning.
Hey guys, what's up? That was an amazing game last night from Ole Miss and Chambliss. I was at an Ole Miss watch party here in Memphis, and I went to a few Ole Miss games this year, and I watched a lot of their games. And he is a pretty good player. I mean, I don't think
he's a little undersized, right? That seems to be the knock on him.
Yeah, he's about 6 foot, so kind of reminds me of Russell Wilson a little bit.
Yeah, so he won't go in round 1 in all likelihood. But he could line up perfectly with those 2 second rounders. But we know how this works. Guys get overdrafted. If the Jets are worried about him maybe actually going in round 1, they could trade back into the end of the first round and take him if they love him, which we got a long way to go for that.
I mean, that whole game that last drive was all him.
Yep.
I mean, they really leaned on him. I won a 4-leg parlay last night with the pick with Ole Miss. Maybe I'm a little bit biased towards them because I love Oxford. I don't know if you've ever been there for a game. I'd suggest to go there one time just to be around the environment. It's a beautiful place. It's like football Valhalla for me. That's what I call it. But I was excited about the kid. And if we could get him, I would take him. As far as Glenn, we're stuck with him, I think. It's having a bad step parent. You know what I mean? If you have an asshole for a stepdad, I'm sorry, you're stuck with that guy. You know what I mean? Until your mom could see that the person he is. And, unfortunately, we have to stick with Woody's decision. And hopefully in a couple days, Monday, we're dancing in the streets. And it's sad that we're going to dance in the streets because a man lost his job, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. And look what I got here for my pre-workout. It's called Beast Mode.
Oh.
Yeah, after the mighty Beast Breaker. Look, sour apple rings. They taste terrible, but it gets you through the workout pretty good.
You're a man's man, it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to hit the gym here I have to go get a windshield replaced today. So I'm going to go hit the gym while they replace the windshield. So anyway, guys, jet life to the next life. I'm out of here. I love you, Jake. All we can do is hope, pray.
That's it. Amen. Pork, love you. So membership shout-outs. Wish B, I apologize for not seeing this. I got sandwiched in some stuff. He is in the raffle for 10 by gifting 5 memberships. Yeah. All right. Home stretch here. Let me shout out Gunjo in the raffle because he gifted himself a membership. Thank you, Gunjo. We got you in. You're in for 2. Says you gifted another one too, or you did it twice. I don't know. I'll put you in for 4. Well done. Look at this. Coming up twice. Hell yeah. Let's see. Let's make sure that we're caught up here. I believe we are. All right. Today's closer before the raffle is a man who's been hit in the head many times.
Women need to vacuum and shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Unmute your microphone, Gary.
That's becoming a trend I'm noticing. I need to be more. I'm failing from the beginning with that, Jake. I need to be more alert and make sure my mic. This is becoming a trend with me.
It's
It's
is.
unacceptable.
By the way, Matt L., I don't know if I shouted you out. I put you down on the list, but I don't know if I shouted you out. He gifted 5, so if you got a membership from Matt, thank him. He's in the raffle for 10. Hit it, Big Show.
Jets, Jets.
No memberships left behind. All right, Gary, continue your call.
First off, I want to shout out you. You're still wearing your jet gear. I know you run a jet show, so it makes sense. But like, I'm a little embarrassed to wear mine, so I put mine away until the draft. I'm not going to wear any more jet gear till the draft. So shout out to you for wearing that jet gear every day. Shout out. I want to look. You've been consistent, right? You want McCarthy? Like, if you could wave a magic wand, you would take McCarthy
over Aaron Glenn. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying if you could make anyone who's available, you can't.
Sean McVay.
McVay, but he's not available.
Well, if I could take
anyone who's available, you can't have McVay. You can't
Right.
have Andy Reid. Anyone who's available,
Correct.
who you could hire, you would take McCarthy, right? That's who you said.
Well, what are the alternatives? Like, is Mike Tomlin or John Harbaugh available? I would take them too, but I
No,
don't
those
think-
guys are in place. Yeah, those guys. Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't. I'm trying to get to Mendoza here, right? And to me, Mendoza is a system quarterback. But if you put him in McCarthy's West Coast offense, that would be a pretty good system for him. He probably could work in that. My problem is the quarterback usually outlasts the head coach. So if we're drafting a system quarterback to play specifically with a head coach, and that quarterback outlasts the coach, what do we have? Like, you guys, not you particularly, but the football fans in the audience in general are a little fickle, and they're a little short-term memory, right? Like, they're a little recency bias. Guys, Trinidad Chambliss just applied for a waiver so he can go back to school, so he can go to LSU next year because nobody had him on his draft board. Now you're going to take him to the second round?
Well, I mean, Dom Sienna is a third-round guy, so there was some, interest for him as an NFL prospect.
He just applied for a waiver to go
He
back
didn't
to
get
school.
approved yet, though.
He didn't. But that's because he wasn't high on people's draft boards.
Well, I heard he has a 50-50 shot at potentially getting that extra year of eligibility. But if he keeps balling out, he's going to be advised to go to the draft if he has a chance to be a second-round pick.
And I agree. You don't look, he's a hell of an athlete. He's small. He's undersized. Where is Fialco? Fialco would be ripping on him for bailing on clean pocket. That's Fialco and my pet peeve. Where is Fialco? He's coaching the Jersey football team, right?
He is.
We
Joe
need
Blewett.
Fialco back on this show.
We'll do a Joe Blewett film review on the playoff performances from the quarterbacks on Tuesday. So we will definitely break him down.
The thing you said, like, Mendoza, and Mendoza in the right system can be fine. Okay, like, yesterday was a good sign. The other games he's played against good defenses weren't great. Yesterday was fantastic, right? Yesterday was, but still, when he has a clean pocket, he's good. When he's under pressure, he's not so good. Now, you can say that about a lot of quarterbacks, but that's my point. He's not really special. He's got an average arm. He's probably got average mobility. Like, he's a lot of
Mendoza
average.
you're talking about?
Yeah, Mendoza.
I don't know, man.
There's a lot of average in him.
People keep moving the goalpost on him. I'm not saying necessarily you are, but it's like, who's he doing it against? And then he plays great against Ohio State. It's like, let's see him do it now against Bama. It's just like, it's always the neck, and like, he's been great. He takes care of the ball. His teammates love him. He's got the size. He's got the starts. He's got the work ethic. He loves football. He's like a nerd when it comes to football, which is that's what I want my quarterback to be. Like, I think he does a lot of good things well. He's a perfectly reasonable top of the draft quarterback to take a chance on.
Okay. I think it was Adam Too Cool took a lot of my points. He doesn't play under center. So now we have to teach him how to play under center.
So that was the same thing with Dart, though, and Cam Ward.
Okay, I'm not saying it was the same thing with Pat Mahomes too. It could work, right? But
And
you're taking
Josh
a little
Allen.
bit of a
A
risk.
lot of guys. That's college football.
I
Most
didn't
guys
watch
don't
Josh
play under
Allen in
center.
A lot of guys don't, but okay, that's true. So now you have to teach him how to play under center. Steve, remember the receiver Steve Smith that played for the Panthers and the Ravens? Not Steve Smith on the Giants from USC, the other Steve Smith.
Yes.
When the Jets drafted what was his name? The I always forget his name. The quarterback out of Baylor that had the ungodly numbers at Baylor.
Bryce Petty.
Bryce Petty, thank you. When they drafted Bryce Petty, Steve Smith laughed and said, when you draft a quarterback who doesn't know how to play under center, that's like not knowing how to use toilet paper. You are completely useless to me. I'm not saying like that's the case. What I'm saying is, if I have to teach you how to use toilet paper, he was comparing that to teaching someone how to play. And it's like, how am I drafting you? You don't know how to play in the center. This is the NFL.
I think it's a little different though. Bryce Petty was drafted years ago. That's 8 years ago. The league is different. Okay. There's way more college in the pros now as far as offensive systems. You see that all the time. And again, Bryce Petty was a 4th-round pick. Fernando Mendoza would be at the top of the draft. It's, to me, way different.
It's different because I'm not saying I don't think Mendoza is going to be bad, but I said he's a more athletic Mac Jones, and I'm not trying to degrade the guy. He's a more mobile Mac Jones.
I think the comp for Mendoza I've seen has been Goff. Mike Tannenbaum, who I do a weekly show with, says he's Matt Ryan. We've heard Kirk Cousins. Again, he's a good quarterback. I'm totally comfortable taking him. I don't know if they'll be in position to get him because the Raiders probably select him at 1, it feels like. But things change in the months leading up to the draft. We all thought Darnold was going to Cleveland, and then he didn't. Like, things change.
Understood. He doesn't have a complete pass route. He throws a 1, a 2, and a 9. That's a concern. He plays mostly RPOs. That's a concern to me, right?
Don't you like the intangibles? Don't you love the work ethic, the smarts, the size?
I'm taking the devil's
advocate. He's been fair.
There are things he does good.
He's not a perfect prospect. No one is, though. Like, those don't exist. Even Lawrence, who they said was a perfect prospect, took him 5 years to start playing like the generational QB he was labeled.
I thought he was Mendoza with a cannon for an arm. That's really all I thought. It was the same thing. It was all shotgun. It was all timing patterns. It was all RPOs. It's like these aren't NFL offenses. And look, it looks like Lawrence is going to get there. But who knows? He may take a step back next year. When you're bad for 4 years and good for 1, you might regress to the means. You might.
Eli says, remember, Gary thought Spencer Rattler was good. Keep that in mind.
Spencer Rattler is extraordinary. Spencer Rattler is extraordinary. He don't bail on clean pockets like Trinidad Chambliss.
So you think Fernando Mendoza is going to be a worse?
No, I didn't say Mendoza bails on clean pockets. I'm talking about Chambliss.
I want to get inside your mind here for a moment. Would you rather have Spencer Rattler or Fernando Mendoza if you're the Jets?
You already know the answer to that, Jake. You already know. You don't even have to ask. I'm taking Spencer Rattler over most human beings. After the top 10 or 12 quarterbacks in the league, I'm taking Spencer Rattler. Like, just like I love Jameis Winston, I love Spencer Rattler.
Right, but Rattler got benched for Shuck, who's been a lot better.
He's been better? I don't know that he's been better.
He has been. Yes.
All right, that's your take on it. Okay, he's been better.
That's every Saints fan's take on it. One of my good friends is a Saints fan.
So okay, so then go get. Do you think he was good against the Jets? We saw him.
Shuck.
I mean, I've only watched Tyler Shuck that one game. I'm not gonna act like I know Tyler Shuck inside. I watched him once against the Jets, and I didn't think he was that good.
Well,
you think Tyler Shuck was good against? Like, he was good. That's a good quarterback.
Tyler Shuck, I thought, played well against the Jets, but the Jets suck. I also watched him have game-winning drives the 2 previous games against the Bucs and then the Panthers before that, where he played well on those drives too.
Okay, I'm not gonna. I don't have an argument one way or the other on Tyler Shuck. My argument is for Spencer Rattler. It has nothing to do with Tyler Shuck.
So
right?
Let me ask you this: you seriously would take Rattler over Fernando Mendoza?
Rattler over every quarterback in this draft class. Yes, 100%. I don't understand. Like, we can stop doing this. I like the way Spencer Rattler plays the quarterback.
You like the cut of his jib, if you will.
I like the cut of his jib. What are you, like 7? Like my grandfather used to say that. The cut of his jib. Yes. I like the cut of his jib.
Look, I think you're nuts, but it's your opinion. So God bless.
Yeah. We can unless the guy's name is like Herbert or Josh Allen or those guys, Burrow, yes, Lamar Jackson or Jordan Love. I really like Jordan Love. He gets hated on a lot. Jordan Love's really good, by the way. Outside of those top 12
knockouts, don't matter if you land enough jabs.
Incredible. Thank you, Gary. D King, I did see your super chat. I got it right here. If I was Woody and wanted the safe face, firing Glenn after 1 year, I'd offer him a transition to the front office, VP of insert important sounding title. Give Glenn the option to take that, then wash your hands of it. Again, nice thought. I don't think Glenn would take that. I think he'd probably go back to the Lions. Campbell would give him a job. Sean Payton would give him a job on the staff. Maybe Vance Joseph got a DC job. They promote Jim Leonard. Glenn would get a assistant head coach title and, be a DB coach again. He'll have a job. He's got good context in the league. He's a good assistant coach. He's not a head coach. That's where I'm at. And I think if you feel that way as a Jet fan, you are totally reasonable to feel that way. Again, history is not on Glenn's side. If he ever turned it around with the Jets, which I pray he does if he sticks around, he would be one of the biggest outliers in the history of professional football. Don't believe me? Rewind the show when I gave the stats on coaches that lost, the amount of games Glenn is going to end up losing in year one. On that note, we have a raffle to get to. Signed Freeman McNeil jersey. It's coming up right now.
Ya had a kick to it. Buenos dias, Jay. ¿Cómo está, amigo?
Happy New Year, Macho Beast.
Let's take a look at that brand new number 24 Freeman McNeil jersey. Everybody knows it's time. Now, let's bring the Macho Man in. What's up, America? Are we ready? Are we ready? Now it's time. New Year's is done. The champagne, the caviar, and the other drinks are put away. Now it's time. Let's all get up, get those raffle tickets, and get ready to spin the Jake Asman 2026 Wheel of Champions. Don't you know what I'm saying? And remember, step into a Slim Jim. Oh, yeah!
It's time to announce the winners of the weekly Asmaniac raffle. Let's spin the Jake Asman Show Wheel of Champions and find out which Asmaniac is winning an epic prize.
Yeah, Jet fans. Where's my wheel? There it is. Hey, good luck to everyone. I know the Jets stink and we're all miserable, but you guys are the best. You make doing this show still fun. You support the channel. We're all Jet fans. Whether we agree or disagree, we all want the same thing, which is not to be an embarrassment. You guys are the best. If you win, email me your name and address so I know where to send your signed Freeman McNeil jersey to. All right. Before we get to the wheel, Nick Shine gifted a membership. He's in the raffle for 2. Nick, I got you accounted for. Here we go. One spin to rule them all. The winner of the Freeman McNeil jersey is Lou B. It's our guy, Lou B. Jet super fan extraordinaire. Congrats, Lou. He got in the raffle by sending in this $10 super chat. He's the winner. Lou, here's a hug for you.
I hug him every day. I hug him every day.
Congrats to Lou B, our winner, and thank you to everyone who tuned in this morning on the show. If you want more of me, 4 hours of sports talk radio coming your way on ESPN New York this afternoon. You can watch it on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. Let's get some Asmaniacs in the comment section invading the ESPN New York channel. Looking forward to hanging out with Ty Butler for 4 hours on the show. Guys, you are the best. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Fireman Ed for coming on in his weekly spot on the show. Man, what should I play to end the show today? Well, there's one thing that's on my mind that I feel needs to be played. JETS, 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 Jets. We will talk to you soon. And again, hang in there, Jet fans. Hang in there.
People think I don't want to work, which is not true. I just had a bit of a nap not too long ago, too, so that didn't help.
Love it, dude.
You're talking about how people don't.
You can't say that people think you don't want a job and then say that you came off a real good nap. It's a hard 2 sentences to put together, Charles. It is. You got Jake off the camera.
How do you not see the irony of that, Charles? This is why Charles is the best of the best.
Oh, hi. Jake wants me to ask you to click on the like button.
That's right, Lane. And if they don't subscribe to the Jake Asman Show, this team may never win another game. Let's go, Jets!